Good morning, night, whenever you are deciding to watch this broadcast. It may be the only second broadcasting of, but we are here still within week one of GGEU. I will be your host, or at least play-by-play caster, username underscore Intel here, joined by the wonderful Ocean. And I've got to say, we've got a tongue twister of a match today.
Well, that's not really necessarily a tongue twister. It's more like we've got two Altiora teams and then two Altera teams playing against each other. I think it would have been a lot easier if we had the Altera team playing Altiora team and then do it the other way around. But, the schedule said to hit us. So let's talk about the first match. We have both of the Altiora teams in GitGud EU Expert Division, so quite a high division playing against each other. So we're going to see Snowdon versus Eminence here. I like the Snowdon logo, it's quite nice.
I've got to say, it is very impressive. Professional artists is only here.
Yeah, 100%. We're not going to pretend we just got sent a PDF for someone's logo, which may not be exactly what you want. Might not be paid for yet. But yeah, let's move on. And yeah, Altiora Eminence's logo quite cool as well. And of course, we got the two Altera teams later on today. But let's talk about this first game, because of course Altiora is an organization that's been around the Overwatch scene for a while, with teams ranging from, I believe, Silver, and I think they had a Contenders team in the last season of Contenders North America. Pretty powerful roster they had for that. So they've been around a while, they know how to build rosters. I'm expecting some pretty synergized stuff from both of these teams.
I definitely agree. It is going to be something a bit more interesting because most likely these teams have had a lot of time to work together. They're familiar, and the coaching staff at least, or their staff in general, are very experienced into what they're doing. So honestly, I'm a little scared to see which of the side of the organization is going to be stronger. And, is this going to be more of an intense match or like a friendly showdown?
Yeah, let's actually focus on the Eminent side of things. Because they have, when I was looking at their team sheet, we kind of asked people for preferred heroes. And I want to draw attention to the support line. Not quite the off-tank yet. We'll talk about them in a second just because of their username. But they said that their support line, their mid support really likes Brig, and their flex support really likes Zenyatta. And I love a Brigitte Zenyatta backline. I think it gives so much value. Having a more aggressive backline, having your Brig be able to bodyguard your Zen as they get better angles. I love that sort of play, so I'm looking forward to that today.
Well, I've got to say, I think it's very curious to be running. I don't see. Well, I've been seeing a lot more people be running out with the Zenyatta Brig. I definitely think the Wrecking Ball composition, that's 10 to seeing what you're working with. It works very well, and it's pretty good. And honestly, you give a lot of really big plays just by positioning wise. So I think that's really interesting. But then going on to the Snowdown, there's something a lot more different. They're running something a lot more easier. They just seem, for their favorite heroes and such, that they're rocking out with just a traditional brawl with an echo or something, which is something we're very used to seeing. I don't think there's anything out of the ordinary. So I'm wondering if these two teams, what are these the specialized? One's a Wrecking Ball composition, one is just a pure brawl trying to run down.
Yeah, and I think if that is the case, I would favor Eminence in that sort of matchup. But I think also we have to consider this is not the highest level of gameplay we're going to see. This is not Contenders Trials. This is not Tier 3. This is just expert get good. So the Brigitte Zenyatta Wrecking Ball compositions are a lot harder to play than your standard Brawl composition. I feel like you get to a pretty strong level of Brawl around the 4K or so mark, and it's one of the competitions a little bit easier to understand the base level of. Of course, when you go to Brawl versus Brawl and how to get the best value out of all your components, then it gets a little bit more confusing. But just having a good, strong base level of Brawl, I think we're more likely to see that than a good, strong level of base Wrecking Ball and Zen Break sort of composition.
I definitely agree. Although, I mean, you did kind of point it out for a second ago, because I just want to get it out of the way. These players are very interesting, more specifically on the side of Eminence. If you've already kind of took that gander and said to yourself, how do we let this slide, that there's going to be a tank player called Sigma Balls, I truly expect them to just hard play the Sigma.
I'm really excited. We don't usually get side names like that on broadcast. I don't usually get to make those jokes. So, I'm excited. We don't get to do that very often.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's going to be something more interesting. But right now, this is where we kind of get to sit here and say, well, what is the possibility? What are we going to be running out on? Because we do start on control, so these teams do get a second to kind of breathe, kind of take a second to try to figure out what they exactly want. And honestly, when it comes to the sheets or whatever, it does seem that Snowdon, they specifically really like Lijiang Tower, and I think that's a really good map, especially to start out of if you're wanting to roll a brawl sector comp.
Yeah, I think a control center in particular, you might run on those standard brawl comps. I think more teams are kind of transitioning to rush on control center in particular. Two sort of differences. I mean, I know in Europe, a lot of teams play brawl pretty fast, and they just have brawl as rush, a different type of rush comp. Whereas in different regions like Korea and North America, rush and brawl are completely different. And we are here in Europe. But I feel like you're going to be playing a lot faster in Control Center nowadays, even if you do play the Brawl comp. But we're not going to worry about that anymore because we aren't going to go over to a pool, which is another map that is quite good for Brawl, apart from maybe Sanctum, where you might see some sort of bunker comps or poke style compositions, or even just like standard Wrecking Ball Sigma dive compositions. Those are going to be pretty good. I think that's where Eminence are going to really like that composition that brings in. Or even they could play. You could play Brawl here, but I prefer some sort of poke composition on Sanctum. The other maps, though, I think Snowdon, they'll be very, very happy with the choice in the poll.
Yeah. Sometimes I really like to just say that control is often a flip of the coin depending on what map you get, because obviously depending on the map it really matters on what you want to play, especially here on Village. I think we can both agree that is more kind of favorable to the poke composition, but as these teams are showing, one's going to be the traditional brawl bunker. They want to be able to play on the point, they want to be very defensive. On the other side, they're not even going to try and risk it.
Yeah, so it looks like we're going to see kind of what we expected, but reversed, right? We see Bold Diva out of Snowdon, and we're going to see Brawl out of Altiora and Eminence. And I've always kind of struggled to decide, because I'm part of the crew that thinks Rush and Brawl are completely different. If it's the Symmetra variant of the Brawl composition, is Rush or not? I think it's just about teetering on it. It's still Brawl. And this is going to be interesting. Like, you've got the Symmetra teleporter to rotate faster, which means you might cut out a bit of the Fara damage, but once we're mid-fight and that Fara is involved, it's going to be quite difficult to even shut down that Fara that Snowdon are running.
Yeah, I definitely agree, because look how they're setting up. They're playing inside this own little microwave spot, but they're breaking the turrets on the side of Snowdon. They're doing a job where they want to try to take out the Symmetra. They want to try to get some type of pick to be able to push this point. But that mid-wall is absolutely beautiful because it denies Mystery from leaving the fight, and the rest of their team can't come in and peel. So even though they get that really big ante, and the Faras they're already built up to the barrage while the point is now open, they're not going to have any chance to really follow up on it or have any chance to really move in on it, besides from Spectacular trying to do a flank and trying to catch them off guard.
Yeah, I think Spectacular is going to go in now. It's not going to get anything, though. There's nothing really to set up. Maybe you could have waited for your Wrecking Ball to maybe pile drive and then go with it. That Immortality Field completely shuts down that far.
Yeah, but look, the sound barrier comes out. They use the nano just to help out this far, but it seems that they're not going to be getting too much follow-up. Although the barrage is built up so quickly. There was no Diva to be there to shut it down, and it seems that's really going to be their win condition right there. Everyone else is trying to do their best on the side of Snowdon to try to clean up this fight. They want to shut it down as fast as possible, get a rematch kill, but it just seemed that Spectacular truly was the MVP of that small fight.
You could say that was a spectacular play. No?
Oh,
okay.
no.
Moving on. Anyways, that's team fight. Fara is really good at catching out players on rotation and spamming. But the Fara can't really get involved when they're playing on the inside there. You actually notice when the Fara started to give value, that's when Eminence actually walked outside of the point. I think they were trying to walk onto a target. Don't do that here. When you're on rotation, heroes like Fara, Wrecking Ball get so much value. Once you got to be sharp on your rotations, and when you're in a position where the Fara can hurt you, you can stay there. You've got control of the point. I think they made a really big mistake there.
I agree. Although using this wall is going to help out a lot, especially with the mines. Although it does seem, unfortunately, they are going to be losing Gauss, and then slowly everyone else is kind of pressured out. It seems that Simwall is just not getting as much value as they were hoping to, especially with the rest of their team slowly being staggered out. The teleporter just kind of brought them to their own death.
Yeah, Spectacular has another barrage built up. This is going to be really hard for Altiora Eminence, right? You've got like a damage wasted Fara spamming down at you, and the longer your rotations take, It's going to be easier for Suzu or Mystery to get value, and of course you're going to get spammed out the duration of the time, and the longer you take to take this team fight. Now if Gauss going down, Furby's building up that Nano Boost, and we've already seen what that could do with that Nano Boost decline to Spectacular. That is terrifying. Although, Altiora Eminence do have a tool. They have a self-destruct, and I think that can give them a lot of space to get into the fight, get a quick rotation done, and maybe take a team fight with Blizzard, or they could just throw it just straight at the bar and see what they can do with that.
Yeah, but I'm more worried to see how they're going to be trying to do it. Look, they throw that bomb out. They really want to take out the Far Mercy, but they were already set up. Although they do lose their Tracer, the D.Va is going to be solo ulted. I mean, I give full respect. The point is going to be recaptured, and that Blizzard's being used combined with the sound barrier so they can try to kind of gain control over this point. They want to try to stop Snowdon from being able to do anything, especially with them having 87%. That Shatter goes out, focusing down the Wrecking Ball. But look, the D.Va has the bomb. They're going to be able to set that up. And Spectacular is still set to be able to pump in a lot of damage. I mean, sure, it's still on the side of Eminence's capture, but they're going to have a stronger issue when it comes to stability.
Yeah, they have the up matrix and the Deadeye coming up, so maybe if they can get up to that, this far could be a bit of a non-issue. But I still think, once maybe Furby builds up to that Nano Boost, it could be game over, and that's only 50% away.
Yeah, and oh, look at this. We're in the one-fight territory as it is. Mystery coming up on the mines is going to be the big thing. The more pressure is, can Harry get to the point without being focused out? And can they find someone to isolate? They use this window just to be able to type a heal, but that anti's absolutely huge. It hits 3 of them, which forces them to kind of play slower, and we do see the high noon come out, but they're already blocking it out. They're going to be shooting the barrage mansion to take out 2. Absolutely beautiful. I mean, Spectacular goes down, but Mystery uses that mine to stop anyone from walking back into the point, and they're going to be struggling to try to do anything. The point is at 99%, but this is more in favor of Snowdon, especially with that Valk securing them this team fight. But they're gonna have a bigger issue when it comes to the side of Eminence trying to recontest.
I don't know if Eminence can touch. If they can, they still have to deal with a Pulse Bomb and a Nano Boost. This is gonna be rough for Eminence.
Yeah, look, Xenon tries to touch, gets there, and then just immediately gets melted down. Now the Lucio Moira, they're just trying to do their best, slowly being clipped out. This is how the poke works. You're trying to go different angles just to touch. They're at those angles. They're going to use the Pulse Bomb, and they are going to secure the first fight win, or map win, whatever you want to call it, onto Nepal.
Yeah, that was a pretty classic round of, okay, if we were on Rush, maybe Eminence would have won that, despite the fact that you don't have a tool to deal with the Fora. I don't think their rotations when coming back to the point. When they had the point, they were kind of fine. Their starting rotation to take control of the point was great, right? And then I think they were just a little bit too slow in their play. When they were walking onto the target just outside of the point, that was way too slow. And that meant that the Fora was able to catch them out with the Nano Burst, and that was pretty poor from them. Now, I like this alteration. You feel like you're going to be playing against Fora, so you're going to go to a rush composition with that. Sombra Trace, so this is also known as a 6-1 composition, but I just like to call it standard rush, and this composition is extremely fast-paced.
Yeah, personally for me, I do like the variant of with the monkey because look, they're going to be able to hack out the Wrecking Ball, who now has no ability to play the game, is immediately going to be shut down, and everyone else who's kind of relying on the boost is going to be struggling. I mean, you do find out Gauss, which is that big win condition because they're not going to get any healing, but you're stuck in this long poke fight where you're trying to find anyone out, and yet it seems that Snowdon, especially with Furby onto the Zenyatta, they're just able to get so much value in poke that it's shutting them down, especially with that Discord being such a valuable resource.
And this is actually kind of worrying for Eminence now, that Zenyatta's going to be set up in that sort of top left area with a very nice bodyguard in Courtesy on the Brigitte. That's going to be pretty difficult to deal with, right? Additionally, while you're trying to walk onto those supports, you got to deal with Spectacular. You might be able to hack you up. Suzu's close to the Pulse Bomb. This is going to be difficult to walk onto, but if you can get onto those supports, it's going to be a brilliant time for you.
That was a really good dive, but the issue is that Xenon is extremely low. They're putting a lot of resources into just healing and surviving, and it seems that it's finally paying off. They have a lot more sustain, and so being able to just completely brawl inside of them, not worrying about anything, look at this, they're just being able to slowly shut them down. I mean, they lose to Lucio, but it's not really much of an issue, especially with the point only being at around 74%, 70 a bit above. They're going to be able to capture and have a couple ultimates for the next fight.
I feel like the DPS for Snowdon could have been a little bit more active there. I feel like that was pretty free for Eminence just to kind of walk onto that backline. I feel like Spectacular could have been a little bit more active in building, getting a hack and disrupting that rotation, but no, they're going to come right in with the EMP.
Oh, that's so good. They find out the D.Va. They're not going to be able to use their mech to come back, and they got the monkey very early on. And without your dive tanks, you're not going to be able to really dive, per se. Mystery does build up the mind, is going to be having that control. I mean, they invest the Coalescence. They want to do their best to stall this out. They even find out Furby, who had the Transcendence. That's absolutely massive. So, as we see them moving forward, it just seems Snowdon are struggling to kind of keep that sustain, keep themselves alive, especially with the return of the monkey. They use the mines onto the point, so anyone walking up is going to be hit with a load of damage, but it's only on one side. The Pulse Bomb does manage to stick on, so you're not going to be able to jump out before it really hits anyone, but still, this is looking in favor of Snowdon. They managed to get the recapture. They're using the Transcendence. They're being able to stall this out, and it's basically been over 30% as it's been. I mean, Eminence does have a chance to bring it back, especially with that Pulse Bomb mentioned it on Furby, but the Brigida's not being punished. They're not being killed. They're able to use the rally, stay alive, and it's basically a messy fight. Look at that. The spectacular EMP is going to be taking out that sound barrier. And then the counter EMP comes in. It's going to be able to manage that forward, but Furby's still alive. They're going to be able to be fine. And they're still not being able to isolate and focus down a target. We're at 84% as it is right now. The hack does manage to hit the Brigida. She's finally going to be going down. But everyone else is still freely being able to move around. They're still able to be fine. That bomb going out, trying to isolate the supports. And it seems they finally going to be able to get that capture. Eminence now putting this inside their favor. They just need to clean up the fight. Don't give Snowdon the chance to be able to bring this back. But look, they're already getting picks. The respawns are in their favor. I mean, they're just being able to isolate. The D.Va's not going to be able to do much. They don't really need to invest any ultimates because they gave them the point, but it's still at 92%.
Yeah, I think the problem, right, and why Snowdon were able to kind of win that fight is because they did kill the supports. The supports of the win condition for Snowdon, they weren't really dealt with.
Yeah, and now it's even a bigger issue because they lost their monkey who had the primal rage, who could stall, and everyone else is trying to run back on. They're trying to do as much as they can, but the mines are absolutely massive. They're going to be able to do so much just by breaking this D.Va's mech, and now when they walk out, they're going to immediately be going into it. Everyone else, especially the Moira, trying to do as much with the Coalescence. She just has no room to play. The mines are just absolutely insane as they continue to find people. And look at that. Snowdon, I think that was technically 1-2 fights maybe that entire game.
Yeah, I feel like Altiora and Eminence knew their win condition when they were kind of coming back. They lost the first team fight, right? They lost the first team fight. They got right onto the support line. They know that the supports of the win condition for Snowdon when they're running that composition. And then for the rest of the round, they neglected them. Now, I just didn't get the Snowdon supports any attention. I thought they might have been getting a little bit lonely, actually. There was no real action for them. They're just kind of spamming from a distance. Or Kurisu were just kind of sitting there with a rally up and not getting focused on. So, honestly, Eminence know better. They know that the support should have been in the win condition there. Because when you kill those supports, then you can kind of isolate and target each the Sombra. There have been some pretty basic mistakes from both teams, but a pretty high level of gameplay. I think mid-fight, the plan needs to be better a little bit from Eminence. I think mid-fight they were really, really poor. But if we look at Snowdon, I think they had a pretty good base understanding of when they had the advantage, and they always took that advantage pretty well.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think Snowdon, as a team, they made very to little no mistakes. They played that absolutely beautiful, and they played to their advantage, while Eminence made a bit of fundamental things, especially when it comes to playing that Winston comp, being able to try play against it. So I think that's why we saw them kind of struggle to get some focus fire or really shut people down. And I think moving forward, you want to make that tighter, because that type of mentality still works over if they try to go to a Reinhardt Brawl or Ryan Rush.
Yeah, I feel like Snowdon have a better base understanding of where their advantages are, right? Once they had control of the point on village, they were a lot better because they know, okay, we have a massive poke advantage. If we catch on rotation with a Wrecking Ball or a Tracer as well, they're in a lot of trouble because we're playing sort of a poke Wrecking Ball style with a Pharah against the Brawl. That's our advantages. And then they also know if we keep our supports alive, we're going to win against Eminence's rush composition. And let's have a look at Spectacular, because I thought Spectacular was fantastic. That's one round, by the way, did 11.5k damage.
Yeah.
So,
I'm not gonna lie to you, I feel like Spectacular just looked better because Eminence weren't just being able to shut them down, and they were just being able to fly around on Pharah on first point, and then on second point just being able to get value. Like, they built their ultimate incredibly fast, and honestly, you've got to give it to them. That's how you're supposed to be playing Pharah, and that's how you win fights like that. So especially on to the next map, which is more specifically of King's Row, I think Spectacular having this damage accuracy all from 1 point, that's absolutely insane. Oh, Speculator. Oh no.
We got the name of the entire robot. Okay, to be fair, it's spectacular on the sheet, I believe, and I have it wrote down as that. If not, I'm an idiot, right? But anyways, moving on. That is a pretty impressive stats. 11.5k damage in one round is insane. Also, something I want to point out is their final blows is 11 and their eliminations is 6. 15. Don't know why I said 6. That's a lie. But yeah, the final blows to eliminations rate is extremely high, which means that a lot of the resources and a lot of the kills they were trying to get, they're trying to put it into their far. They're trying to make Speculator the number one gamer for them. And I quite like that. They kind of have a clear identity of how they want to play.
Yeah, I mean, when you're playing Pharah, I think more often than not, especially with that splash damage, you're consistently going to be getting those final blows. And if you're not, then that's the moment where you can bring up stats and saying, what am I doing wrong? What am I out of position as a team being able to play around me? And, you know, especially going into the future, it's going to be a lot harder because I think Pharah is definitely playable on King's Row. I think there's a lot you can do on that map.
I mean, yeah, it is, especially on point A. But I feel like on point B, it's quite linear, so it can be quite difficult. As long as, you're probably going to expect standard brawl here on King's Row, maybe some sort of element of rush. You might run like a Moira and a Doomfist and a Zarya instead of like a D.Va, a Cowboy, and Baptiste. You might see that instead, and that would be more of a rush composition, which would be quite difficult for Pharah to play against. So we might see it on point A. I don't really suspect to see Pharah after that, maybe on a point C defense. You might run like a Pharah Asha, and that's a lot of spam to deal with. If the defense does win a team fight and you have to walk an awful long way. And we've seen already Eminence's rotations, apart from the first team fight on Village, they're not quick enough, right? They play extremely slow, and you can't really do that against the Pharah. So that's going to be probably Snowdon's win condition for point A, maybe point C. But other than that, it could just be like a standard Brawl v Brawl matchup.
Yeah, I definitely could agree, although, at least in this SR range, or a lot of what I've been seeing, a lot more of Wrecking Ball compositions have been more favored, just because they're being able to disperse and play around, and they can work how they want, but these teams really just want to run that bread and butter, that clean edge, and honestly, I agree with it. The Maze are going to be able to kind of wall people off, and that's kind of how you win those fights in, like, a quick second, and that's what matters the most.
This is going to be interesting. Both teams are going to be running the Brawl. We did see Xenon play Reinhardt in the last round, so we know a little bit about that. But we haven't. I don't think we've seen Mystery play the Reinhardt yet. So first chance to see her on that hero, and this is going to be interesting, right? Because we haven't seen Snowdon on Brawl. What we saw from Eminence on Brawl was pretty poor. I mean, it left a lot to be desired. It was strong in maybe 1.5 fights, probably the first fight of Village, and then half a fight later where they used the self-destructive and got blistered off, but later on they still lost that team fight anyway to respawns.
Yeah, I do love this rotation as they take it a little cleaner, and look, both May walls are out, but Eminence are going to be the ones punished first. I think they got a bit more value out of it, especially first, but it looks like with their Reinhardt being gone, they aren't going to be able to move forward. The rest of the team just want to retreat and try not to get staggered, besides from Sigma Balls, as he just wants to kind of die immediately just to have their mech back.
Okay, so that was interesting, because Eminence were the only team to actually use their Mortality Field there, or their lamp, right? And they still lost the advantage. That was forced out extremely early. The Xenon going down. So let's have a look. Who seems to be getting the value here? Let's look at the Baptistes, because Furby didn't even use a lamp and already has their Matrix. Eminence don't have that nearly clear.
And now we're reconvening back into the fight. They do have this window. Furby's going to be popping out very early once the Immortality breaks. This is doing good for healing, but not only that, damage. Although they are somewhat split, how is Mystery still alive? As they have just been continuously brawled into, eventually now going to be falling out. And Harry does use that high noon just to secure any stagger picked. I've got to give props to Furby. That was really impressive to keep your Reinhardt alive for that much, because you're not getting any value off of it.
Yeah, honestly, I thought that was really poor from Snowdon. They're kind of pressured back. They lost kind of the early engagement of that team fight. I understand they had to walk backwards. They had to get out of that team fight. But they just walked backwards into a straight wall. They had nowhere to go. Even if they kind of rotated in the hotel and controlled the mega health pack, then Snowdon would get control of the point. Then they got to walk into Eminence. Would have got control of the point. They had to walk into Eminence. I thought realistically they should have rotated back towards the point and not towards that wall. I think that made things extremely difficult. And then you could have maybe used that Matrix and had a longer sight line. That would have got a lot more value.
Yeah, Eminence almost getting that shatter, but it seems that they're the ones that are going to be hit. The entirety of their team are just going to have to refresh and reset.
I have no clue why they took that engagement so early, right? Of course, you're playing against this archway, but both teams kind of have to play around this archway. There's a lot of natural cover to play around. Your timing has to be spot on. I feel like they rushed that engagement, knowing that if they get through archway, they can get a snowball started, but also your opponents are playing around that archway. You have to walk a longer distance to get to them. You're taking a lot of spam damage. The shatter was rushed, and the mystery was able to pop off just after that. So credits to Snowdon, they took that team fight really well.
Yeah, look at this. They're going to be reconvening in this fight. A window and a Diva Bomb. It doesn't manage to find much, but look how much space it's given. It's also forced out the sound barrier as they're trying to make something happen, but it just seems that Eminence aren't being able to follow up on the ultimates that they're truly committing. Just look at oomph. It's just being able to find that oomph and shut them down, and now they're going to be having to come back. They have to really use that Blizzard if they want any type of a recontestable fight.
Yeah, and that's kind of slows things down. I understand why you know, they threw in the self-destruct for some space, but they didn't really get any resources. Like, why did that happen? That's what made it discipline of her, because not using the immortality field there really helped them. I allowed them to go more aggressive later on, so really good discipline from that part to shut down.
Oh, look at this shatter, though! They used the speed high noon trying to make anything happen, and the Blizzard gets it. In every ultimate that they have thrown out has been canceled and countered. Now with them losing out the Reinhardt, they are going to be struggling just trying to make anything happening. But Furby's doing an amazing job of consistently keeping this healing up, and now they're just being able to walk forward, build up more ult charge, build up more of a sustain, and this Diva Sigma Ball is just going to be staggered aggressively.
Let's talk about that. Shadow, why is that so clutch? So in this Bro competition, the number one win condition is that Blizzard, right? And the number one way to get a Blizzard off is to use the amp speed Deadeye to get all of the resources out, and then walk in, slow the pace of the team fight down, and use that Blizzard. That Shatter shuts down the Deadeye with no resources used, and that Blizzard can be eaten by people.
Yep, I like to see this. That Shatter comes out, but they're not able to follow up on it. The Sound Barrier is going to make sure they get sustained. However, look at that. The High and Noon combined with the Diva Bomb make sure that anyone who's kind of moving around trying to find anything are just going to be killed, crushed, and they have yet to really use an ultimate in their favor.
Yeah, I feel like Snowdon are coming in with really, really good teamfight plans, but they're not executing them properly, or Eminence are just prepared for that, right? Snowdon are just prepared for that. Eminence, the teamfight plans are there, but they're not executed right. I thought Mystery, that slam was great, and then Home getting the Blizzard 8, that teamfight was just a mess from Eminence. They did have a plan, but it didn't seem like anyone really agreed with the plan.
Yeah, although they do get a nice plan out here, but that Blizzard's absolutely massive. It captures the majority, but more importantly, the tank line. While the immortality does manage to keep them up, their Mei was isolated, so they're going to be found out, and now they're entirely going for the back line. The bomb also gets used, and they all rotate around it, so the entirety of their team is once again popping out these ultimates, and then Snowdon does an amazing job of not only rotations, but adapting to it.
And now this is extremely worrisome. We had like 5 minutes on the clock when we were on point B. Now it's only 1 minute off the clock, and Snowdon have not really been impressed. They know, or by tracking that. Sorry, Eminence not been impressed. They know that Snowdon has the Blizzard. They've got to be ult tracking that, and they yet again engage straight into them. And once they engage, the teamfight slows down. It's the perfect opportunity for a Blizzard. You'd never do that when your opponent has Blizzard. Never, ever, ever do give them that free Blizzard opportunity.
Yeah, look at this. This is a massive high noon because they've set up. The Blizzard is getting prepared. And look at that. Not only does it get eaten, but they take out the Mei. That's a little bit of disrespect and a big oomph in your stomach. And look at this. They're looking to make anything. They don't have an immortality. That window made sure they pump in that extra damage, and their entire team is gone. They started this by winning first point pretty convincingly. This has been an amazing hold, and it's 20 seconds to touch.
Yeah, this is desperate times for Eminence. So they are going to have the sound barrier. That's a pretty big advantage here because Snowdon don't really have anything apart from a self-destruct. So this is all one Tyranty now. They've got to set the pace and they've got to do it fast.
Yep, look, they're rushing onto this point. They do get that touch, and Harry's onto the Hanzo. That sound barrier is used as a quick engagement, but look at this bomb. It's set up just beautifully. It does great damage, and the Shatter commits in. Although it does seem like Snowdon has been caught with their pants down, they have been found out. And while they do have the Blizzard, they can't follow up. Their entire team is gone. This is giving Eminence enough room to be able to push this payload and hopefully have a chance to capture second.
Huge credit to Taranti. They needed a clutch play. They needed to set the pace of that team fight. That's exactly what they did with that Storm barrier. The problem is, what noise do they have for Speculator's Blizzard? I mean, they'll have an immortality field, and also they will have an ant matrix to try and stop them rotating onto them. But if they do get onto them, that team fight will slow down, and it will be Blizzard time.
Yep, they use that window, but it's basically going to be ignored. The Blizzard doesn't get eaten, it's popped out. Everyone is isolated, caught off. The Immor is there, but they are all melted down like fresh butter. Honestly, you got to be doing a better job of shutting it down, because look, the only people on your team are the DPS. And now that sound barrier makes sure that you can't even kill anybody. So while the payload does get to a nice spot on the corner of second area, well, honestly, you've got to be feeling a little bit beat up, but still, it's nothing to be ashamed of.
I feel like there are a couple like differences in Lolly. I think Snowdon are just a better team for now. So we're just gonna put that statement out there. But if we want to highlight individuals so far and what sort of matchup might be costing Eminence a lot, I think the Baptiste matchup. I think Furby has been the better Baptiste by far. I feel like other than the art metrics on point A, they've been increasingly the better Baptiste. And that matrix on point A probably wasn't their fault. It was probably just a per decision to rotate back there instead of rotate back towards the point where you have a better matrix angle. Eminence in that last fight, that matrix is way too late. You've let your opponents walk onto you by then. As soon as they walked onto them, you notice that main wall from Speculator. That means that the fight's going to slow down a little bit. And Blizzard is never really great when the fight's at a fast pace. It's really good. As soon as the fight goes from one pace to another, it could be slow to fast or fast to slow. Went from fast-paced teamfight after their engagement past the Ant Matrix to a slow-paced teamfight because of that main wall. That meant the Blizzard was the prime-time opportunity. How Ghost did not use that amplification matrix earlier to try and stop Snowdon from getting close up to use that Blizzard, I don't know. I feel like they had all of their numbers on the point for whatever reason. I feel like you could have had your Reinhardt, your Baptiste, and maybe your May walk further forwards and extend that advantage and try and stop them from even getting a team fight. And I thought it was very passive from Eminence, and I feel like Snowdon would have made a completely different decision because of their Baptiste fight.
Yeah, on the bright side, they are rocking the defense right now, meaning that they can pretty much be the engagers whenever they want. They do rock with the Ashe instead of the McCree, which is kind of interesting, and that Maywall has put Xenon in the worst position possible. The immortality was great, managed to keep them alive and give them room to kind of play again, but they really don't have as much damage as Sue is able to kind of pump in. They take this rotation, they're taking their time, and Furby is just doing an amazing job. Just look how much healing he has been pumping in and continuously pumps in as this fight continues to move on. This Maywall is good, but the rotation is there, and they're basically going to be peeled out since Xenon's going to be the one found out, even though their Maywall wasn't as really great in comparison. Furby does have this window if they want to try to melt them down, but this is basically a free team fight. You don't really need to commit, especially because Mystery is perfectly fine. They have that healing, the immortality to keep them sustained, and everyone else on Eminence, you have to sit there and be like, all right, wipe your cheeks saying, what is our plan, what do we have to do, and how do we shut them down?
Yeah, Dawson's 73% damage because the Furby built there is 15-20 seconds ago, and look, it's go time. They've got past the archway, but this is going to be a lot more calculated. What they're going to do is they're going to use the Matrix to force out the cooldowns, and then they're going to try and build up the Blizzard here. And once Eminence try to walk into Snowdon, then that's going to be Blizzard. So they're going to force Eminence to walk into them, even though they're on the offense, and Eminence are on the defense, and then it's Blizzard time. They just need to make sure they get the Blizzard up in time.
Yep, I do like seeing this bomb come out early. I mean, it does give you a lot of control, and they can't follow up on shutting it down, but they just use their window, they then wall you off. Now your main tank is stuck, can't leave this room. You do manage to find out, too, due to them not being able to pay attention, but you've lost the people that matter the most.
There it is.
The Blizzard is used just to be able to find anyone out. But luckily, even though we do see Ryu's kind of in the radius, it's LOS, so they managed to block it off. But still, Snowdon basically kind of won this fight in a smaller sense, but Eminence managed to take out Mystery Furby, so they can't even push forward.
Yeah, well, they're able to get their numbers back. A Sigma Balls is going to get that frame back, and Snowdon, I feel like the Blizzard could have came a little bit earlier. And now Eminence have managed to build up to all of their ultimates. I think they'll have all 6. once the start of this team fight happens. Let's see, what can Snowdon do to try and break this? I mean, maybe an early Dead-On?
Yep, this is what we're seeing. They push in, it manages to fight out the main tank. That's terrible. That's a free shatter out there, and your window has no follow-up. I mean, the Bob does come in looking to just be your best friend, and the sound barrier does a good job. But Mystery went a little bit too Reddit, moves too forward, and now has no peel and is caught out of this fight, which is the big issue. It's going to take Mystery longer to get here than Xenon, because Xenon died first. Although the payload is in a close spot, we have to see how they use their ultimates to their advantage.
Hope could just try a self-destruct here. I mean, there's no real loss if they do. They've got 3.5 minutes. I think they're just going to kite off, though. I don't think they really want to take this team on.
Yeah, they're looking like they just want to get Specular and look for any type of staggers. We do see them get that really nice Maywall off, but still, Snowdon are going to be able to rotate out. They're basically fine, and they got out, what, maybe 1 to 2 ultimates, so it's really not too big of an issue.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to still will have 6, or sorry, maybe 6 ultimates if I fast that Matrix builds in the next team fight. So what are Snowdon going to do this time? They don't have that Deadeye as an engagement tool. I mean, maybe a self-destruct?
Oh, I love this Dynamite coming out. The Ash plays in a smaller room, and now they're basically built up. The Bob goes into the back line. Now they have to switch their positioning. You either open yourself up to that shatter, or Bob's continuously going to shoot you. Although it looks like they're able to get that combination out, and Sigma balls, I'd say the phrase, but honestly, it'd be more disrespectful to.
Oh, wow. What a play. I mean, maybe the problem is now that they had to use 3 ultimates, but they will still have 3 ultimates in that fight, including both their Stroudbar and their Blizzard, right? 2-man win condition. The problem is, if you kind of look at Snowdon's ult, the main win condition for them is going to be that Blizzard as well. I think they're going to have Deadeye and Blizzard around the same time, which means that they can get a pretty good Blizzard setup. Only outspeed Deadeye, slow the team fight down, and then it's going to be Blizzard time, and they've also got a self-destruct to try and capitalize on any kills, maybe. So, this could be quite difficult for Eminence if they get that win condition online.
Yeah, I am more scared because they've struggled to get this Blizzard out. Proof have just been able to shut it down. Now this window comes out. The Shatter manages to find the people in the back line, but this is the moment where you use it. You manage to get it off. Now they're going to be struggling. They use this bomb to try to find anyone out, and it finds out Lucio! They hit the sound barrier. That was absolutely massive. And now this is switched over to Snowdon's favor. That one mistake has cost them much. Sure, they have the DPS on the high ground. They have it installed. But it's just not enough, especially with that kind of big roll. And it just seems Snowdon, they're going to be able to win out on King's Row.
Oh no. That's a pretty poor team fight from Eminence. We were starting to see Eminence come into their own a bit. They were starting to look a little bit better. But I still think Snowdon are the better team. I think they've got the better flexible player for the moment. And probably the better support line. I feel like they've been setting tempo extremely well. Yeah. I feel like Eminence, they had a chance to kind of show that they're equal to Snowdon in that round and lost it in that last team fight. They had ultimates to work with. They probably had the better ultimates to work with. Like, let's be honest, Snowdon didn't have the win condition they were looking for until the next team fight. And they didn't use their ultimates. They lost their sound barrier for no reason, or just didn't use it. I feel like they could have been a lot more aggressive with that. And yeah, per team fight for Eminence, per round for Eminence, and I Snowdon are 2-0 up.
Yeah, honestly, I gotta say, I want to take a quick look over at some Baptiste stats, because we've got to be real. Sometimes the supports don't get as much love of how they manage to keep people up. And now look at the comparison. 19k to 13k, but the thing I want to be paying attention more is the eliminations. Furby's 23 to the 5. That means, sure, Goss is hitting more accuracy, but that means Furby's getting more value and usage outplaying a Baptiste. When you're able to not only DPS but heal, that's when you're being the true kind of small carry in these individual fights.
Honestly, I wonder if Goss isn't shooting enough, right? Because, their accuracy is higher, but their damage is less, right? Like, what? Well, how is that happening? And, let's be real, the more damage you do, the more healing you do, the more ultimates you get, so we can kind of see that the ultimate use is around the same and that sort of thing. But 23 to 5, that's a brilliant stat you've just drawn attention to. 23 eliminations to 5. God, that's 460% more? That's insane.
It's honestly a bit kind of ridiculous to be able to see, especially with that defensive assist. That means you're helping out your team. Furby's getting consistent value onto this Baptiste like I have never seen before. I mean, they're relying on Mystery to be able to be that amazing fight planner. So honestly, whatever they're working on, they have to keep that up. Well, I want to be seeing Eminence kind of pick things up. It's not any individual faults, but Gas has to be kicking things up at a higher level if they want to kind of compete.
Can I just give credit to myself for that maths? That 460% more, that was impressive, right? That was good. I haven't been in school since 15, man, and I can do that. That's impressive. Who said esports wasn't about a career? Anyways, moving on. Let's talk about, before we go to break, let's talk about what Eminence could do more. I think Ghost needs to step it up realistically. And I want to say they need to execute their fight plans better and have better understanding of their compositions. I think on the other side, Snowdon know what the win conditions of the composition were and know how to counteract those win conditions. For example, bringing that team fight back where Eminence, they go for the amp speed Deadeye to try and set up the Blizzard later on, and that Earth Shatter from Mystery onto the Cowboy ends everything. That means it's easier for him to take the Blizzard. It means they don't have to use any sort of resources on that Deadeye. Oh, that was a beautiful Earth Shatter. They know exactly what's coming after that amp speed Deadeye comes in. I love that. That team fight was brilliant.
I definitely agree. But honestly, coming back in, this is going to be a brief break so these players can get their mental refresh. Eminence are going to need it, especially on the next map. I'm not going to give you that hint. I'm going to have you wait, because if you want to stay tuned to see if they get this reverse sweep or if Snowdon ends this in a 3-0, you have to continue on, because we'll be right back after this short break.
They did find Cucumber, but he's going to lift him.
Oh, Vulcan gets caught right into that, and Speed is going to be able to follow up. Talking about jumping over to the Doofus, talking about playing into the Doofus.
A manos de la bola, ya son 3 las picks que conseguía el equipo de British Hurricane.
We need your help to decide our Opinion Outpost MVP of the match.
He's got a minute to kind of work some sort of pick against this Doc, and oh my good lord, he just got eviscerated.
See? Oh! He's not dead! Hey, now he's dead!
Holy cow, I've never seen someone get so aggressive.
Oh, catches their opponent outside of the building, and that is it!
It's Rocket League Wednesday on the High School Esports League home room. I am, as the kids say, vibing right now.
This is just fumes for them, while Pharaoh rips shot after shot after shot of the back of them.
Good wall towards site, but it's already been broken, so they can't even get that spike down trustedly. Camera over towards site, and again, it's getting all that information. Epoch going absolutely massive!
Here in this map number 4 season, up on championship point, being up 2-1. Nifty dropped down to 19 HP. Joker, with his M13 in hand, is just trying to hold the angles.
So handsome, oh, you have your way, and it's making me weaken. You and your stardust, walking like that. It's really getting too much, but I can't pull back. Though I try to resist, I can't fight this. And no one makes me feel like you do. And no sets my body on fire, and no one gives me shivers like you. Oh, no one does it better. How I try to sleep, but you're deep in my mind. Got a hold of me. When I'm awake, I'm all blind. You and your magic, like infinite power. God knows I tried to resist, but you're pulling me closer. Oh, I gotta stay away, but you won't let me. No one makes me feel like you do. And no one sets my body on fire. And no one gives me shivers like you. Oh, no one does it
They did find Cucumber, but he's gonna lift him.
Oh, Vulcan gets caught right into that, and Speeder's gonna be able
Oh,
to follow
no.
up. Talking
You
about
let
jumping
him
over to the
do.
Doofus, talking about playing into the
A
Doofus.
manos de la bola. Ya son 3 las picks que conseguía el equipo de British Hurricane.
We need your help to decide our opinion outpost MVP of the match.
He's got a minute to kind of work some sort of pick against this Doc, and oh my good lord, he just got eviscerated.
Oh! He's not dead! Hey, now he's dead!
Holy cow, I've never seen someone get so aggressive. Oh, catches their opponent outside of the building, and that is it.
It's Rocket League Wednesday on the High School Esports League home room. I am, as the kids say, vibing right now.
This is just fumes for them, while Pharaoh rips shot after shot after shot of the back of them.
Good wall towards site, but it's already been broken, so they can't even get that spike down trustedly. Camera over towards site, and again, it's getting all that information. Hebot going absolutely massive!
Here in this map number 4 season, up on championship point, being up 2-1. Nifty dropped down to 19 HP. Joker with his M13 in hand is just trying to hold the angles.
Welcome back, everyone. We are here with the Snowdon versus Eminence. Obviously, same team org, same going up against each other. But right now, we're in an interesting spot. A 2-0 lead against Eminence. And next map is Junkertown. But, Ocean, we have a moment to talk about all the possibilities and things happening.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting, right? Because we talked a little bit before the break about how we see a little bit of a... Well, we saw a little bit of a flex support difference on Kings Row. The stats amplify that, so we're not really talking about anything. We're just telling the narrative of how this goes. And let's continue that flex support narrative going into Junker time. Because Junker time, you're going to see a lot of poke compositions. Means some Zenyatta. We've seen, I think, Furby bring out the Zenyatta on Nepal Sanctum, which means that I think this could be a pretty poor match choice here from Eminence to go to Junker time where Furby's going to be able to play the Zenyatta. We've already seen Snowdon on these poke compositions with Wrecking Ball. They could run Wrecking Ball Sigma this time around. I think this is a pretty poor map choice, and I think this is going to play firmly into Snowdon's strengths. However, we were told that Harry likes to play a lot of Ash, Ryusu likes to play a lot of Tracer, and we kind of know that they also like to play some sort of Zenyatta break compositions on Eminence, which means they could also quite like those compositions. We just haven't seen it from them so far this series, so we'll see if they bring it out here on Junker Time. If they don't, I think they will struggle to deal with Furby on that Zenyatta.
Honestly, I mostly see this rocking out on either kind of dive, rush, wrecking ball composition type of things, or just strictly a double shield type of thing. I don't think really this is where Eminence want to rock out on the Reinhardt, kind of just ooga boogling, walking forward, just trying to take someone out, because it's such an open map. There are a lot of sight lines. There's a reason why Junkertown is famous, or at least known for just being a sniper map. You have so many opportunities to be able to take people out. You have so many opportunities to be able to play flanks and angles, especially if you decide to play Roadhog, which is one of the most annoying characters to go up against. If you're not paying attention to that, you're just whoosh, lost fight.
Yeah, but also if you have Roadhog on your team, you've lost the ranked game, so that's just unlucky, right? So let's talk about maybe that double shield versus potential Wrecking Ball matchup more. I feel like if one of the team walks out double shield and the other one walks out in Wrecking Ball, the Wrecking Ball composition should have a favourable advantage, right? But this is not, your contenders or whatever. That Wrecking Ball team might not have that advantage, right? Because that double shield could be extremely well drilled, and that Wrecking Ball's timing could be a little bit off. I'm not saying it will be. I'm just saying that's an example of what could happen. In practice, it might not actually be the Wrecking Ball having the advantage, where in theory, it should have that sort of advantage. And if we do see some sort of double shield compositions, it's going to be interesting to see what DPS we see. Because in that sort of situation, are we going to see the double sniper? Are we going to see Widow and Hanzo? Are we going to see Ash? Are we going to see potentially Tracer? Are we going to see Bastion or Torb? We don't know. We haven't really seen much of these teams. GitGud, I don't watch that much GitGud. I cast the teams and then I remember them from previous eras. I don't know too much about these teams, what they like to run with the double shield. I imagine something spammy like Hanzo, maybe an Ash would probably be suitable for these teams.
Yep. Personally, for me, I am expecting and I am hoping that they rock out with the Torb. I think Torb is just such a good character, as not only because Turret is really good at small poke, it can take out flankers or any type of Sombras, but honestly, it's just a really annoying character to have to deal with, especially with Molten Core. But these teams, they feel like Beyonce. They're snapping their fingers. They're like, nah, we're here to put on a show. As we see Eminence more in favor of rocking out onto the Wrecking Ball composition, not going to be running out with that Bastion most likely. But look at this, Snowdon, they want to play with that double sniper, double shield.
I mean, I'm just saying. I was thinking more, along the lines of Shakira, because I'm looking at Furby on this end, and them hips don't lie. Furby's here to pop off, right? That's all we're going to talk about. So yeah, I needed to make Shakira reference. I'm not a big fan of Beyonce.
She's great, man.
Yeah. I like this composition from Snowdon on the defense, though, right? You've got a lot of spam. As long as your snipers take different angles, they're going to be extremely threatening. And Furby on this, is going to be awesome. This is a lot of spam damage for Eminence to deal with. And it's going to be all about how Xenon approaches and how Sigma Balls takes that support line into the fight. Because once the supports are in the fight, they don't have to pass too much, and that's going to be easier for them.
Yeah, but I want you to correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm a plat player. I'm not too big brain when it comes to these fights. But look at this. they lose Xenon, and their entire composition is meant to play back. They have snipers, and honestly, they are the ones trying to take sight angles. So I don't really see this working out too well, especially with Snowdon being able to kind of stay bunkered. I mean, sure, Hoop goes down, but the Orisa is still there. They have that big shield, and their snipers are being able to kind of play around. So how is Wrecking Ball supposed to play against this?
Ooh. Well, so the Wrecking Ball's just going to be just kind of doing their own thing, being really annoying. It's all about Sigma Balls and how they get their Brigitte and Zenyatta into the fight. You see, Taranti's able to go and brawl now and use some of Brigitte's qualities. I mean, usually you'd actually see the Zenyatta go with them for more powerful discord potential, but the Zenyatta doesn't need to in this situation because Zenyatta's in the fight, able to get aggressive discords, and usually more aggressive and more risky discords provide a lot more value. That was a really good fight from Eminence. That's the best Overwatch we've seen from them so far. Sigma Balls got their backline into the fight. Harry and Ryusu take different angles, and once they are taking different angles, it's kind of hard for the double shield to deal with that, especially with Xenon poking them down, moving them around, disrupting them. And that's kind of how Eminence can play this. The problem is if Snowdon make the fight quite close, because double shield actually has a lot of brawl potential, how is that Widowmaker at home to them?
Yeah, it seems they really just want to take some early picks and early fights. They want to slow them down as much as possible because that's why they use the dragons. And I do see the Wrecking Ball composition having a bit more issue as Mystery is able to kind of play on top of that high ground. But then we see denying anyone from being able to play inside this small room and really do as much as they want. It's going to be harder to kind of continue walking into this. But look at that. That was a nice clean prediction shot. But it doesn't matter as much when there's an Orisa kind of standing there. The Sigma's up there. And you're just kind of having trouble finding anyone out. This is the time for Snowdon to take angles, take sights, and use the bongo to basically secure this out as much as possible. I mean, sure, you're going to be throwing out that bomb, and it's a very hopeful bomb. It finds out Mystery. It gets stuck onto the high ground. I don't think he was ready for that, and they get found out for it. That's going to be the big issue. And it just seems that Eminence are going to be winning longer when these fights are being drawn out like this. We already see as they've lost kind of on the side of Snowdon, the majority of their team, Eminence is being able to poke things out. They even have mines now. Sure, the Brig is being able to stay alive and kind of stall this out, but they don't really have much when it comes to retaking this fight.
Oh, how did Harry go down to the Brigitte there? The Brigitte just walks on top of Widowmaker and clicked roundly in the backline.
How has the Brig been alive for this long? They come back, use Gravitic Flux, take out the Wrecking Ball, and now Eminence can't take back this fight. This was just lost because Snowdon's support line have such anger, such consistency that they just refuse to die.
I actually kind of like the switch to Brig Bap, even though I kind of like the Zenyatta from Furby. Furby's been great on the Baptiste so far, maybe a little bit rusty on the Zenyatta. I don't really think that's the reason though. I think they just want the Brigitte so their tank line could stay a little bit more consistent. So the Wrecking Ball can't really disrupt Humph, for example, and Humph once is probably a key part of this composition, right? Because that Sigma's going to be transporting their Hanzo or potentially their Brigitte or Baptiste to different off angles like they are now in this window.
Yeah, they tried to hit that C9, and both Dragons are going out just to remove both teams from their positionings. But the major difference that's going out, not only for the Bat versus Zenyatta, but it's going to be that Sig versus D.Va. We do see as they lose Harry very early on, so that Tracer's not going to be able to find anyone up. But the rally is giving them so much sustain and stability to be able to move forward that Specular is just not going to have any room to move in. It's up to Mystery to really use these mines to try to get as much value, but he places them so far back that Zenyatta isn't really found out. Even Mystery gets discorded and is going to be struggling to stay alive, while the rest of the team, they want to be trying to build up any type of ult economy, even using the immortality on point to lower down this time bank, but it's not really in their favor, and we're going to be seeing as Eminence manages to capture second point and still come back in with a good ult bank.
Yeah, I think Second Ball is having a really good map on this, Steve, and they've been in the kill feed whatsoever, but what they are doing is they're getting the support line involved. If you get that Brigitte Zenyatta support line involved, you're probably going to win the map or the team fight or whatever it is, whatever you're trying to win, right? But yeah, you get that support line involved, which they have been doing, that you're in a really good situation. The problem is that Taranti sometimes goes for some brawls, and Ghost doesn't follow up with them, and neither on the Tracer and the Wrecking Ball. You can sometimes use your Tracer and your Wrecking Ball to move cart or payload instead, so that Zenyatta can get more aggressive and brawl with their Brig, so they're more safe with the Brigitte, and also so you get more high impact discounts.
It was really good to get out this Transcendence very early, and yet it seems that they're going to be winning. They used that bomb, managed to find out Mystery and the Sigma are gone. And look at this, both of the snipers are making sure to take their angles. They engage in the same spots, or really same sight lines, but they're in different areas, so they're basically getting as much value as possible.
I really like that the Eminence are playing with their snipers. They are taking different angles. It's been quite strong. Usually at this sort of 3.9k level, you see DPS fight over the same angle, and you're like, what are you doing? Just take it as an angle, and we'll get so much more value.
That Brigitte had rally, and they get killed. Now the entirety of Snowdon, they're struggling to stay alive. It just seems this is Hirosu's type of opportunity. They managed to capture a third point with 2 minutes and 20 seconds. That was technically a snowball, because I don't really think they stopped after really winning that initial fight on second point.
Yeah, that was a massive snowball. Yeah, so there are some issues with high Eminence to play, but that's a lot better for them. They look a lot more confident in that sort of competition. And that begs the question, why were they not on that sort of competition before? Like, really? Like, we got their team sheet here. The Sportline likes to play Briggs Zen. Right, so why are we not playing Briggs Zen? We're good at it, right? I thought they were excellent. Tyranti was really, really good at getting into those bowling opportunities after a single ball has allowed that to happen. I would have liked Gauze, yes, to go with them, because Gauze was kind of isolated at different points, but you know what, whatever, that's me being picky. 2 minutes 20 on the clock, that's excellent. Now let's slow things down. Let's talk about what Snowdon could do, because honestly, after other than point B, they were pretty poor that round. So what do they have to do? I think maybe the mirror matchup is a good idea. I feel like they could make some good adaptations going to for example, the Brig Baptiste, so they could try and nullify the Wrecking Ball. But their DPS angles were really, really poor on point A. They never really got their Zenyatta or Baptiste involved. I think the more Furby's involved, the more advantages they have, because Furby's a great player. I think they got to play the mirror matchup. When I say they got to play the mirror matchup, I don't just mean play the same heroes. I want them to also play the same way Eminence were playing, because they were better in Brawl versus Brawl. Why won't they be better at this? Well, I think this mirror matchup will suit them.
Yeah, I do like them sitting inside this like little house. It's almost like saying, please get off my lawn. And it's going to be difficult for Snowdon to try to find them out, because they're hunkered down, they have a shield, they have a diva, and they're basically fine. Look, the Tracer trying to find as much as possible, but this is where things start going wrong. That beam is absolutely insane. Manages to find out too, and now the entirety of Eminence are slowly broken down. One small mistake has cost them the entirety of their kind of spawn camp. So this is where most likely they're going to switch up.
Yeah, so we actually saw Kursi go over to the Honor to try and get a nade and provide a little bit of pressure. Also, that means that the team fight is going to be quite long. You're going to need a lot of burst healing, and Furby needs to stay on that Zen for the burst damage. So they actually went double flex support in a really cool situation there. And then now they're straight back over to the Brigitte to protect their Zenyatta in fights where the Zenyatta is going to have to walk a little bit more and be a little bit more protected. Is Harry going to go down here? Does he not? No. Sorry, I missed it.
Yeah, this is already getting dangerous. I do like seeing Specular onto the Echo. I think Echo is a really good play against the snipers, because you can kind of burst them down and take those angles. But they pretty much have the sightlines, and it's really hard for Snowdon Don to try to kind of find anything to work with this, because Mystery is relying on trying to find somebody out, try to use these mines, and they're basically sitting there on the point. They're being able to move the payload a tiny bit, but they're still in danger of not only being headshotted by Harry, but Rusu, who is just perfectly having these sight lines. They can't move this point anymore. They really need to take this fight, because look at this, they're spending most of the time kind of in this big poke phase. That Diva almost goes down on the side of Sigma, but it seems that Furby's going to be the first one gone. Now the Brig has nobody to protect but the baby Diva. Mystery trying to trade in to get Harry, maybe put this in their favor, and Specular does have the copy, but now you are the entire bullet sponge of the enemy team. They are just looking at you, trying to shut you down. Even that counter bomb coming out, as Rosu's able to kind of pick people off, and there's just not much you can do. Even with building up this Diva bomb last second, you lost this fight because you don't have your team with you.
Yeah, okay, so now we're seeing some problems with Snowdon on their Brigitte Zenyatta competition. They actually got their Zenyatta and Brigitte into a really cool angle in that room with the Mega Health Pack. But they lost their Zenyatta because they're kind of staying still for a while. Xenon was able to pick them off with a battle drive. I think Suzu here has been a little bit of the problem here. Suzu needs to be on top of these snipers, right? Because that means that Humph can move Zenyatta and Brigitte into different angles. If Suzu's harassing the snipers, means they're not focusing on those supports, or even Mystery could do it, right? And Suzu could maybe harass Xenon, for example, and that could be something different that they could do to allow their supports to have more angles and more time to get into the team fight.
Oh, it really hurts to see Mystery go down this early, especially with mines, because they want to try to use to stop anyone from following up on them. And the entirety of Snowdon, well, look at them. They're kind of pressured out, and they are refusing to fight. I mean, Rosu does get a bit pressured and is looking out. Manages to find out Specular. That was a little bit impressive. But now they're going back into this fight with the 5v6, and they're relying kind of on what their DPS are making. Goss does have to use that Transcendence just to kind of stay alive, and similarly Furby once they start getting poked out a tiny bit. But the dragons are now being used to kind of slow them down, split them up. We even see Specular go over to the Sombra, and I think that's going to help a lot because they're having a lot of issues trying to fight this and even push the payload. Sure, they're getting a couple picks, but they can't really follow up on it too much.
Yeah, I like the Sombra pick. I would have probably preferred Widowmaker or Hanzo because I think that the DPS are getting too much value on Eminence. I think just directly matching them and harassing them is gonna make it so much easier for your backline, okay, your Diva, your Vegeta, your Zenyatta to get involved. They have really not gotten Furby and Curse involved since the first team fight, and it's because they are being constantly threatened by these snipers. So Suzu's gonna go for the Widowmaker.
Yeah, this is where they're having their opportunity. I like seeing the mines and putting pressure on Xenon, but they're basically able to kind of walk around. And now this is kind of going to be a mines v mines. We see it popped out. We're seeing the mine trying to take out. And Sue is actually able to not only take out Goss, but Harry, the bomb, securing kind of just some hope. Although it still is somewhat of an even fight because the Diva's still able to stay alive. Xenon goes down to the mines, and that's the moment where you wipe some sweat off your brow. You may have a less time bank comparatively going into this point. You won't have a higher one, especially on third. You still have this as kind of a way to win.
Yeah, I actually really like those DPS changes. I think just having two options to deal with those snipers or harass them a little bit more with your DPS line is just better. The Sombra can do it, and can even harass the backline. Maybe you use a defensive hack to help their backline get in. Sub is quite versatile here. Suzu was not dealing with the snipers on the Tracer, so then instead goes over to the Widowmaker, takes the Widowmaker matchup. That's one way to do it. That's probably a better way to do it, and there's quite a lot of success so far. The first fight you've seen Furby and Curse get involved, really.
Yeah, this is one of the first fights where we're finally seeing Xenon get pressured on. I don't know by stats, but Xenon has just been doing an amazing job of like taking a load of damage and then escaping with the load of damage. Just especially now with the Sombra here, they do at least have this EMP. It gets set up and they pop it out to hit nobody. Okay, I mean you do find Xenon, Harry. I guess it was just a LOS type of thing. You wanted to make the move around, but you still have an issue when it comes to pushing forward. The DPS and support line are still alive. Ooh, that's a nasty shot onto Goss, taking that nice angle. So Eminence do now have to worry. Without that Zenyatta, without that Hanzo, they are now struggling to regroup. They are going to be kind of a big staggered type of situation, but they do find out the Widow. They do have the rally. They can sustain this for as long as possible. And well, look, the hack onto Xenon is beneficial. The Transcendent onto Furby is going to make sure that they can move forward. But Mystery now has the bomb. She just plop that down. Boom. Anyone who tries to walk into you is going to be suffering from a load of damage. But honestly, you've done pretty well. You're taking them down. You're having focus fire. I mean, now you want to use Transcendence is there trying to just allow them to live. Furby going down to that ring that kill, interestingly enough. Now, those who wanted to use that rally, the Diva Bomb goes up high. They want to try to end this fight as fast as possible, but it's taking a lot of resources out of them. Though the hack onto Sigma, it does not appear as the remake is going to be there. The Diva's going to be able to come back just fast enough to even get a little slam onto Mystery. Now this is where the mines truly go in. It's one messy ult fight where Snowdon have to use every ultimate in their vicinity just to be able to try to make this happen, but it's only going to take Eminence to kill themselves to really end this fight.
Yeah, I would actually like to see there's a minefield there. We'd like to see him walk into it and get Furby some more ult charge for this team fight. No, let's look at the ultimates because there's practically nothing on the board for either team, but there is one ultimate, and that's the most important ultimate. That's EMP. The most important ultimate in the game, the best ultimate in the game. Speculator has it online. Why is this so critical, right? Yeah, you're going to get a team fight win out of it, but what else is critical about it? You're going to be able to end that team fight win, build up your other ultimates. If you can get a Transcendence after that, you're in a really good spot. I wouldn't be surprised if they get a good EMP, that means they finish the match. Nice shot.
That was incredibly nasty, and that's even worse! You can't let that happen! That's pretty rude, Sue! And look, they're going to be able to not only remake the Diva, but they pretty much have guaranteed themselves to be able to push this payload for as far as possible. Even with Specular on the Sombra, I think this has given them a chance to kind of move things in, especially because they're shutting down Xenon a lot more than often.
Yeah, so let's go and talk about this. Now they've got 52% on Transcendence, 73% on their rally. This is brutal. Speculator's probably going to kill Harry as well now. Yeah, this EMP might not even be used to build ultimates anymore. It's going to be used to win the map.
You really want to try to get as much of a time bank too when it comes to pushing this payload. You're not going to have anything higher than 2 minutes and 20 seconds, but hey, it's still good. And you're forcing brutal staggers onto Eminence. That's why you see them using this rally. Not only does it give them some sustain, but they're preparing for any type of an ult fest that pops out. Now, this is where it's up to the Widowmaker to try to get as much sightlines. Though that Dragons was accidentally perfect because it manages to kind of hide them out. It does seem that EMP is good combined with the Transcendence and Bomb. They are getting the sightlines and angles that they needed. The payload is going to be able to move forward, and they are taking people out. Eminence just don't know how to play with such a Widow who's being able to hit these headshots in a team that are putting pressure onto them. It's an amazing comeback as we see them cap the point, but now they need to hold against 3 minutes and 20 seconds.
So right, okay, so that entire run, I was asking a question of why is Harry being given so much space on this Widowmaker? Why is Susie not in their face? So now we have to ask the question, so why did that Widowmaker swap happen so late? Why did that Sombra swap happen so late? Those are questions to ask. Then we also have to ask the question of, alright, now Susie has all the space on the Widowmaker, why is Harry not gone back to it? Why are they not going to take the Widow Jill and limit that space? Or go Tracer? Like, both teams made the exact same mistake that round of just giving that Widowmaker too much credit. It's Junker time. This is practically Widowmaker's map, right? Like, yeah, I thought that was poor for both sides. That's what sent Susie's Widowmaker, look at that. 34% critical hit, 12 final blows. That switch should have happened earlier. And Sombra switch should have happened earlier. We saw Fur being cursed, he got a lot more value after it as well. Not just the DPS getting more value, but the supports as well. And that's the most important thing about this Snowdon team. Eminence, they should have made adaptations too to deal with that Widowmaker. But they didn't. And now that means that there's still a chance that Snowdon get the free yo, they win this map. But Eminence, still 2 minutes 20 ahead in the time bank. They've been pretty good so far. Can they get Taranti and Goss more involved yet again like they did on their offense?
Yeah, I've got to say, at least both of these teams now have a clear understanding of how they both want to play and what works to their favors. We even see them rock kind of a similar mirror. The main difference being that Widowmaker versus Sombra, and I like it, I can't lie, because Harry is going to be so paranoid. Like, where's the Sombra? Where are they?
That's worried about the Rocky Ball at the moment.
Yeah, but hey, look, they're being able to put that pressure, although that is an amazing peel that comes out to be able to save Harry. That's really what they want to do. They lose that Widow, they lose kind of the side angle games, and they do teamwork to be able to take out Suzu, which is absolutely beautiful, because that Tracer not being there now slows down this fight for them, especially in a 30-second type of fight. We already see as that Zenyatta is being hit up, the Widow is in the best area, it's never going to be contested, Sombra's not there to hurt them, and they're just basically free riding.
I wonder if they're trying to play for Furby's Transcendence. It's at 58% by now. I wonder if that's what they're trying to build. But Mystery's right on that Widowmaker again.
Oh my goodness, I would love to see the Transcendence be built because Goss doesn't have one in comparison, but the pressure that they are putting onto Harry at times is absolutely immaculate. Although that combination takes out Furby and the support line is now going to be struggling. They need to have some form of sustain or stall, but they're basically all being shot at. Sure, Xenon is going to be hacked, but the Brig and Zenyatta are there to be able to heal it up. Sure, they're not going to be building up any type of ultimate, but they won that off of a dry fight just by kind of playing the Wrecking Ball composition to its favor.
Right, okay. Now I have to ask you more questions. So, realistically, we saw both those team fights. There's a clear plan from Snowdon, which is good. Every single team fight that we can see you have a plan, that's great. Every single team fight that, we can see that the team has an identity, that's great. But should Mystery really be the one that's going after that Widowmaker? Should not be a DPS, should not be Susie on the Tracer. It really should be. I mean, we saw that in the last round, Susie was struggling Tracer versus Widow. Why not just go Widowmaker again? I feel like both of these teams are kind of underestimating what sort of value Widowmaker could get on Junkertown. If not contested DPS to DPS, you cannot send your main tank aggressing on a Widowmaker and send nothing else on it. That's not how that works, because then your entire team trying to walk in, what do they engage on? Unless you want your Brigade to engage on a tank or something, try and get your... Yeah, it's not going to work like that. I think it was quite simple. Mystery engaged onto the Widowmaker, they peeled back to deal with Mystery, and then there was nothing to start a team fight for Snowdon, realistically, and then that was the round over. I think Suji probably should have played Widowmaker there, or played a little bit more aggressive onto the Widow with the Tracer. But that's great for Eminence.
Yeah, but
they know that they have a long time bank, and Snowdon also know that, so Snowdon can run the brawl right at spawn to try and get some of that time bank eliminated immediately.
The The payload was put in a really nice position, at least, and look at this. Wow, they get some really good picks off of that May wall, which is what you want. Although losing Furby from that immediate shot is not looking too great, because look, 31 eliminations, that's a lot for this map, and 17 final blows, so you're just able to kind of consistently put damage. That's really good for a Hanzo, and they're gonna have a lot of issue trying to play against this, because I feel like Eminence could really just walk out on a Bastion double shield and win off of this, but they just seem to really just want to kind of brawl this out or use the Wrecking Ball, slam down, try to find anyone low. And I mean, sure, Harry's gonna be picked off. They finally almost get the D-Mech onto D, but not gonna be secured, but Mystery's gone. This is the point where you signify and say, yeah, we can't hold this anymore because we don't have the kind of shot caller, we don't have anyone defending us, so everyone else is slowly being picked off and staggered.
Yeah, but they did get, what, a minute off the clock there, so now they have to kind of hold at the end of Junker time for, what, 2 minutes, 20 seconds instead of 3 minutes, 20 seconds? I think that's worth it, but realistically, now you're stuck on Pro and Junker side. That's not good. You'd ideally want to be, you know, in the mirror matchup here. I think Altiora Eminence have actually got a better composition here. That's going to be concerning, but if you can maybe build up some win conditions, like the Blizzard, like the Sound Barrier, maybe it's possible for Snowdon.
They've taken this rotation, but look how much room they've given the Hanzo to be able to use this dragon. It just pops out inside the amazing boop, finishes it off. The Lucio doesn't even get much. Johnny Cruz is going to be crying in bed for this one. He's going to feel that when he wakes up. And look at the mine. They're built, they're body block. You can't even walk out. I mean, sure, the mines were there, but there's no contest, and it just seems that Eminence have built up the momentum that they were needing, as they just seem to be able to win out Junkertown.
I think the idea was to, you know, let's get some time off the clock, but I feel like after that, you probably want to make the switch to probably a mirror composition of some sort, something that's a bit more effective on Junkertown. You cannot be stuck on Brawl for Junkertown point day. That's not great. Eminence showing some signs of life on the Brigitte Zen. I thought they were a lot more comfortable with that. I thought Sigma Balls had a great map getting the sports into the team fight. I thought Harry had a better map when Suzu wasn't on the Widowmaker. It was a better map there from Eminence. That's what they can really do, and I hope we get to see more of that. Snowdon, they've been great so far this series. They were great so far in their attacking round once they made out the adaptations. It's the adaptations came too late, and they didn't come at all in their final defensive round. So some signs of weakness so far from Snowdon.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you and say that I'm a bit shocked to see this happen, because I feel like both of these teams at most weren't adapting, and Snowdon more specifically, they weren't adapting fast enough, or kind of in ways that we were hoping they could, because Eminence were just able to win those fights when they got to play the way they wanted to. When Harry was able to set up and play, those are their prime opportunities, and more often than not, we saw Mystery putting a lot of resources to shutting them down, but not having like the Somber with them to be able to kind of poke them out. And having a 3 minutes and 20 seconds of time bank to kind of sit on is really hard to be there, especially when you're Brawl, and that kind of stall composition could just come back slowly one by one.
Yeah, no. Let's kind of like, you know, focus on, you know, what Snowdon lost out on there. Because Snowdon so far in the series have showed a really, really good understanding of what our win conditions are, what our opponent's win conditions are, how do we deal with that so far. They've had a really good understanding of that so far in the series. So why did that go away on Junkertown? Maybe a lack of scrim experience on Junkertown. Maybe an escort-only scrim is coming up for them. But maybe that's just what happened. Maybe just not enough Junkertown, not enough experience playing against Widowmaker compositions. But yeah, no, it's great to see Eminence, you know, finally come out and show something that they're good at, some sort of identity. A lot better from them.
Yeah, I do want to be showing up these Widow stats, because I feel like Harry and the counterpart, they did have a bit of a slugfest, and Sue was on it for a less amount of time, I think, comparably to Harry. I think Harry was on it for a bit longer or something. Either way, I just want to say that they weren't on Widowmaker for too long. 8% hit accuracy to 18%. Sue did absolutely amazing for the small time we actually got to see them on, and I think it shows. Sure, Harry's getting more damage in, so we kind of see what priority these Widowmakers are trying to beat.
I mean, okay, so you see, yeah, better Widowmaker, but Harry, when they were on Widowmaker, did fine, right? Their job as Widowmaker was to be a constant threat, and kind of make it difficult for the opposing support line to rotate in, and, you know, win out duels when they needed to, and Harry did that, right? Did the damage when they needed to. These stats do show that Susie is the better Widowmaker, absolutely, but Harry did the job they were supposed to do, and that's you can't really fault them for that, and I thought they played brilliantly on Junkertown.
I think that's what matters kind of the most. Like, I think we definitely love with Susie's kind of shots where those are definitely going to be going into a montage, like "Hi, Mom" posted on the refrigerator. But I'd like to see more how the Widowmakers are kind of benefiting the team. I think that's something a lot of teams or maybe individual players sometimes miss out on. Is like you could be killing 6, but if your team is not alive, who's going to follow up on it?
Is that what gamers are going to do in the future to like validate esports as a profession, right? Because I know when I was like, I want to work in esports, it's like, what is that? Are they going to like get convince their parents to get like a Samsung fridge and then put their montage and their plays on the on the Samsung fridge?
Oh my!
I think that's the idea.
Yeah, oh my goodness! I didn't even think about it, like a Samsung fridge. Like, hey mom, watch my game on the refrigerator.
Yeah, that's what they've got to do now to validate esports as a career. But yeah, let's move on to the next map and how these teams. We're going to go to Anubis for our next map. So I like this because it kind of forces Eminence off of Briggs-En. I mean, you can run Briggs-En here. It's pretty good on the defense. But offensively, it's quite hard to get value here. You probably prefer something a little bit more face poke value, like a Mercy. That could be a little bit more likely. And additionally, I think it might force Eminence onto Brawl, which they haven't been great on. It might allow Snowdon to play Brawl, which they've been pretty good at.
I'm going to be honest with you, seeing Anubis as kind of the default 2CP map that we're kind of going to is a bit more... it's surprising, at least, to say, because I feel like Temple of Anubis is one of, if not the most annoying 2CP maps to play on for an attacking side. Like, second to, like, Hanamura, quite possibly, but even then, that's debatable. But because I feel like, especially first to second point, it matters most of how these teams are playing. And we do see Snowdon, they get to side swap, so they're going to be attacking first. They need to be playing perfectly. You want to have as much of a time bank as possible.
I'm just to reiterate, this actually means that Snowdon, of course, picked them up. But Eminence have decided to defend first. I like it when teams defend first. It actually makes me extremely happy. I feel like setting yourself a win condition is the best way to play Overwatch because win conditions are so important in this game. I like that choice from Eminence a lot. And I like their defense choice as well. You've kind of got a more defensive style. You're going to have your probably your Brigitte might be positioned a little bit more aggressively on maybe on the top left, or your Brigitte and Ana close together. Your Winston and your Diva and Tracer are going to be a little bit more aggressive, probably positioning on that main platform. And your Echo is going to be pretty far back, spamming out your opponents. Snowdon are playing a similar style, but Suzu is going to take a grapple shot on the Widowmaker. Maybe stay on it.
I think it works. I think the Widowmaker works because you're just looking to be playing those side angles, although the Tracer is looking to be a bit more favored. And now I want you to kind of explain more of how these dives work, especially in these brawl scenarios, especially with Mystery gone so early.
Mystery was a little bit impatient here. These are meant to be slow-paced dive comps. Like usually you see Echo Tracer, oh let's play a fast style, but you don't need to here. Well, you're kind of walk around, take space, maybe jump around to take space. What you're doing is you're kind of waiting for your Echo to build ultimate, or then your Tracer spam out. Once your Tracer is in a situation to attack the backline and you're in a position to jump on the backline, that's something that you're going to look to do. But you also have to make sure your backline is in a safe position in case you get countered down.
This is now where they're kind of setting up, looking to be going into these fights. It's where the Monkey and Echoes are trying to get as much damage in as possible, but it just seems that really no one's trying to get as much as they really can. Cursu does get that ante, so they do have to kind of pull back. Snowdon struggling just to find rooms and opportunities to move in, and Eminence already building up to that pulse bomb is absolutely massive. This nano being used is kind of going in, looking to find out Gauss, but look at that beautiful peel, and they're making sure just to be able to kind of sustain them throughout it, but the Brig is going to be sacrificed, and then the Primal Rage looking out for the Ana. It's absolutely amazing, especially with Snowdon starting to find out these picks. The Echo is winning out in these fights. Sure, Eminence may have an ult bank and ult economy, but they're going to have to save it to second point.
Also, right, so Snowdon demonstrating exactly what the next topic of this the win conditions are and how you want to set up for these sort of slower paced dive comps. It's Nano Boost. Nano Boost or Nano Winston or Nano Echo or maybe even Nano Tracer are your main win conditions for this composition. We usually see the Echo to get the Diva, and Brigitte is your kind of stability ultimate. Like you maybe see Transcendence be that in other compositions to keep you alive longer in feud fights, or the same for Sound Barrier. But Brigitte and Diva are kind of stability ultimates or space. Tracer is like a sort of engagement tool, but so is Nano Winston. But yeah, that was perfectly done by Snowdon. Thanks for letting me explain that so easily.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. They're running out with their ultimates, and they ended so early. I mean, on the bright side, Eminence, they had to use a bunch of ultimates, so Snowdon, they're gonna be feeling great, you know?
I mean, Snowdon will be extremely happy, right? Because they've got their main engagement 2 online. They're gonna have that nano boost, so they're gonna put that on the mystery. She'll probably build up that primal rage as well. But that's great for them. So they'll probably have primal, and then realistically, that's gonna open up space for Speculator, Hunk, Suzu. They've got their ultimates as well. So maybe after that primal, the support line might be a little bit isolated, and then Suzu can engage on the Tracer.
Yep, this is now where the fight truly commences, and it just seems Eminence are going to be winning it just by using not only the nano dive, but combined with the monkey, they get a lot of damage out, and a good stagger, and poor Humph.
Oh no. Okay, I think they're going to have to kill him now, because, yeah. Humph has made it pretty close back to the spawn, and they don't want to take a team fight there. We actually see a trend in like really high level Overwatch of teams taking really far out team fights on Anubis because it's the best way to play Anubis and get a snowball going. The problem is they've been back outs every single time. Even though it is the best way to play Anubis, it has its faults. The problem now for Eminence, right, is they use their nano boost. They use the kind of their main win conditions. They're only gonna have a Deadeye, and Snowdon use no ultimates in the last fight. They've got all of the important ones online for this team fight. This is go time.
Yep, we see them get set up and shot out. They're using that copy as an engagement, and a nice pulse bomb splits them up. Sure, it doesn't stick anybody, but now it's giving them room. This is where Snowdon managed to get that tick, and they're investing a lot of ultimates to try to find something out. Built with the primal rage, Gots is going to be killed inside their own spawn room. Harry trying to even it up. Use that high noon is going to be able to take out the monkey as the primal rage is there. They get that second tick, and there's really nobody to try to contest this out. So we're going to be seeing Snowdon. They managed to find it out with 2 minutes and 57 seconds, and I've got to say that was a really good engage, and they invested everything like they needed to.
Suzu's timing was a lot better in that team fight. They went for the Winston duplicate. They usually go for the Diva. Older styles of this competition would go for the Winston duplicate, and they just had double Winston getting a lot of cleave damage. I thought Mystery had a really good team fight there. In particular, isolated the supports really, really well. Suzu wasn't able to connect with the pause bomb once, which is unfortunate, but Suzu's timing was very, very good. And then got the kills later on. I really like Mystery style of play. I really do. I didn't like how they played on Junker time, but I think that might be like a coaching error, or they've been told, hey, Wrecking Ball, go challenge Widowmaker, but that wasn't really the call they needed. Their Widowmaker, their Wrecking Ball is a main engagement tool. I think Mystery's been really impressive so far. Other than that, there's Shatter on King's Row as well. They're quite intelligent players so far. So credit to them. Single-handedly really made that attack on point A and point B. Yeah, everyone was kind of involved in the point B push, but they're the ones that they kill feed. They're the ones that started off point A. They're the ones that got everything set up. Credit to them.
Yeah, but now this is where kind of Eminence, I feel it's always kind of more, you have a more confident atmosphere when you're trying to go in on the attack. You're like, oh, they capped with 2 minutes, we'll cap with 2 minutes. It doesn't even matter because they didn't really get steamrolled that so much. They had a good defense, so now they're walking out on a very annoying comp. I've played against this so many times.
Oh, I don't like this either.
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate playing against it.
Against the Orisa Diva, I mean, sure, that's a lot of poke and spam, but they're basically set to play against you. And even that pull, it has moved you out of position, and this is where they all say, Roger in.
Oh, they got to go now. I think they've taken a little bit too long to kind of engage, but now they've got a pile drive on that high ground, and that's a lot of damage and a lot of setup. It's forced on the immortality field, and now Ryosu is the player to watch. What can they do? What can Harry do? They've got a lot of time to spam, and realistically, Snowdon are still out of position because Sigma Balls now occupied that high ground.
Yep. One of the biggest weaknesses of their own team is the fact that they just gave Furby a window. They're investing so much, but they find out the brick, and now they're set up. Everyone's inside of the small room, and they're using that window, so anyone who tries to find them out is going to be picked off. But Rosu is going to be building up on that barrage. So they're basically set to just wait a couple seconds. The Diva DMs them, and then just immediately team wipe. They're going to be struggling to find anything possible here, especially with this fight beginning.
This barrage is going to be absolutely massive. Watch coming in from the right-hand side.
Oh, the immortality is perfect. They shut it down. That was absolutely immaculate. Sure, they sacrificed a tick and they sacrificed 2, but honestly, that was pretty good. Now you just need to kind of bring it back up. You do have the Molten Core to try to help yourself out and just kind of sustain it, but it just seems that they really don't have much. The big issue now is they don't have everyone there.
Furby and Mystery have been excellent this month. Yeah, the DPS have been the stars of the shows on the map, so they're the ones making the plays. But oh my word, the immortality field on that defense matrix single-handedly saves this team fight. Takes about a minute and a half of Eminence's clock. Now Mystery's back. They've got the Molten Core this whole time.
Yeah, look at this. Molten Core is being used. They're using that Transcendence to allow them to move in. The Mines isolate the Baptiste. This is so disrespectful. Now they're using the window. Sue does have the high noon using it inside the backline, and the Pharah is having some issues trying to kind of play in this map. I mean, the rest does come out. That's enabled. That's perfect. And Sue walks into the Mines for a tiny bit. But the Pharah Mercy is having a lot of issues trying to do anything. They're putting a lot more pressure out, and sure, they managed to still have 2 ticks, but they're not getting anything more than that.
I'm not gonna lie, if Susie didn't die in the last team fight, they probably would have lost that team fight. But you're like, wait, what? How does that work? Well, Susie came out from spawn in the perfect off angle, whereas realistically, if they didn't die, they would have been stuck in that small room, probably died to the minefield when the engagement came out from Xenon. So the fact that they came out from spawn and got the perfect off angle was a little bit lucky, but it was pretty awesome. Goss, now trying to set things up on the Zenyatta. Still probably getting outmatched by Barrier. They stepped up so far in this series to try and match that level. Now trying to get more involved in the fight, get some more valuable Discord orbs.
Yep, the Bongo is amazing. They're going to be using it to move forward, but the bomb manages to get 2! Sure, there's an immortality there, but it's all up to see if Fum can get a bit more bang out of it. Finds out Tyrant, but the supports are still alive to kind of help them out, although it just seems like the damage is a little bit too much. The sound barrier is a little bit too late. They do manage to find out Fafara, but now they're having more of an issue of trying to finish out the side on the side of Eminence. We are going into less than a minute, and they have a moment as Harry is just being able to freely kind of shoot at them, but the point is contested. They can't cap it. And now it's like...
Furby is so good. Like, genuinely. I think they 1v1 Xenon in that back corner, yeah. I think they had a map matrix to do it, but that was pretty darn awesome. And now, realistically, Eminence... They've got a lot of setup work to do. They've got to set up this barrage and potentially minefield. Now they've got to try and force them back into that small room. And it's barrage to the Electric Boogaloo. Can Furby and Hoof do it again to defend their team from this barrage? Eminence have a Transcendence as well. They can use that for their space, or they maybe use a Transcendence. The barrage, that can maybe help them a lot, but realistically, they haven't created a lot of space for Ryusu yet, so Ryusu's going to struggle to get it set up.
But luckily, it's not going to be like a Pharah v bunker comp. The barrage comes out, able to take out the Creed. That's what you needed. They had the high near. Transcendence is used early, but the Mines are basically stopping anyone from truly contesting as much as they want. It seems that Eminence finally have the picks that they wanted. I mean, sure, it's in overtime, but at least you've managed to cap it, so you have now a prime set. Like, you know what you need to do, you know how you want to play this, but look at that, they immediately switch back over to the Orisa shield.
I wonder if Harry's going to change this up to something a little bit more poke-based. Now, still the Widowmaker. Widowmaker still has a lot of poke potential and a lot of potential here if, for example, Suze or Speculator gets out of position, or even Sue or Furby. Does struggle against Xeris and the Diva, but whatever. I still do like the Widowmaker pick. I was wondering if they could maybe go for something like an Ashe with a little bit more spam, but no, that's not exactly what they're going to do right now. And this is going to be interesting to see where Eminence going to set up Ryusu or Ghost to make some plays, because it's going to be quite difficult.
It seems they want to be using that belt to do it. Harry also finds out the pick. Oh, that's a bit unfortunate. They were almost out of the range, so they have to use res really early, and using such a big ability like that when you haven't already kind of secured the fight is going to be a major issue continuing forward. We see as they're now starting to get the picks, but this is where the respawn timer starts slowing down and moving forward, as Snowdon kind of using that window trying to get some type of stall, and Furby's just being able to kind of live for a little longer than they really should be. They still have a cap point. We're seeing as Sue is able to start finding value, if they manage to get a tick, which is really good, but the entirety of the team is slowly starting to come back, while the entirety of Eminence need to kind of retreat. They're slowly staggering themselves, and they're not going to be able to win this because it's a 2 CP moment.
Honestly, really, I don't think it is. I think their Valkyrie was great to engage. The Valkyrie actually, they kind of won most of the team. They kind of did 75% of the job, you know, kind of winning out that team fight, and then once they kind of won the team fight, like, okay, what do we do next? They need to have a second plan. They had a great fight plan. Go on with the Valkyrie, get our DPS and volume. Then after that, they had no clue what they were doing to finalize that team fight. Snowdon, honestly, great pick from Suzu to get them back into it, but they were always going to win that because of the poor decision they gave Eminence.
Yeah, I like seeing this bob out a little early. It helps him take out Harry, and it's going to be harder for Eminence to try to move in. Well, I would say it was a little bit too early, but that bout comes out, so they really can't move in as much as they want. I guess this is more of just a dry fight when it comes to Eminence, as they're just really building up ultimates.
I think I've determined the problem for Eminence now. I think it's mid-team fight planning. before the fight, they're great. They know what they want to do. They had the amp speed Deadeye into the Blizzard. That was a great teamfight plan. But then afterwards, they don't realize that they can't get the Blizzard off because of that shatter on the McCree on King's Row. Then additionally on the pole, they got a great dive on their supports playing the rush competition on Sanctum. Then later on they couldn't get onto the supports because it was one really big long fight. And there again, mid-fight, they couldn't make the decisions.
Yep, they're using that copy. They go in to immediately peel for the Zenyatta. Unfortunately, that Transcendence does come out, but it gives them room to move forward. So hey, it works and it fails. Now this is where they had the second take. They really just need to win it. Both bombs coming out, but the window is also there. It seems that Snowdon have less of an advantage. They do. Their pulse bomb gets eaten. The Mercy's going out with the gun. It's going to lose that fight, and it seems that Snowdon, they're kind of going to be benefiting it out of it more because the Wrecking Ball is the one alive and the Tracer. So they're just getting that stall in. It's going to take it longer for Eminence to try to touch back. They don't have any ultimates to try to make this work. So unfortunately enough, it seems that they just weren't secure. They weren't able to focus fire enough, as we see only one part of the org kind of win out and take the favoritism. As we see Snowdon, they managed to win in a 3-1 series.
Yeah, I was quite impressed with some of the players at Snowdon. I thought they were quite a well-rounded team. I think all of their players kind of grew on me as the series grew on. I quite liked all of them. Speculator had a good time. Suzu has great mechanics. What I would like to see from Snowdon, just while we talk about them as winners, I thought that they were all excellent. But what I want to know from them, I want to see from them better adaptations mid-map. Junkertown was a little slow. Adaptation-wise in a couple of the rounds. I think even playstyle-wise, I think Suzu should have been on that Widowmaker a lot more. And Mystery should never have really went near that Widowmaker. So just maybe go back and watch Shock the Town, see what they could have done differently there. But the rest of them, I thought they were all really, really good. I thought they were really, really solid, Snowdon. I thought Mystery was absolutely fantastic. I honestly, I did. Furby was great, and I was highlighting Furby as maybe the potential difference maker. But as a player that impressed me the most, it doesn't matter what value Xenon is getting, I don't care. Mystery was absolutely fantastic, probably the best player in the lobby today. And now I want to go back to Eminence, and I want to talk about what they can do. Honestly, start of their fights is great. They had some good plans, but mid-fight, they were pretty poor. Happened on Sanctum, happened on Village, happened on King's Row. And again, it happened late on. It happened late on Anubis. It happened at critical moments as well across the series. If you asked me to pick out the most critical moments of the series, they'd all be mid-fight, where Eminence had a chance to win the team fight, and they just couldn't.
Yeah, I've got to say, honestly, I feel Snowdon was just a little bit more prepared. Their team was a little bit more rounded out, and I feel like they had individual clutch potential, which is often what we see on DPSs, but we saw this obviously on Mystery, we saw this on Furby, who was absolutely insane, has a little bit of a heart from me, because I feel they managed to not only heal, but put in small individual values that saved the fight, especially like when they were on the defense. We saw that Barrage come out, and we both expected an entire team wipe, but the immortality was there, gave enough time for the D.Va to DM, and that's absolutely amazing. Well, I feel that Eminence, they sometimes relied a little bit too much on the DPS to kind of make those plays, especially onto Junkertown. We often saw them getting the first initial picks, and while I will give them kind of like the thumbs up, I do think Sigma Balls did pretty well, amazing on the D.Va when it came to like the onto the Junkertown. I think that they just weren't as in sync comparably, and that's kind of why they just aren't able to execute things as cleanly as we want them to.
I thought Sigma Balls was probably the standout player from Eminence. I'm not just saying that because I want to say Sigma Balls on broadcast because it's funny, which it is. But no, I thought they were the standout player. I thought they were pretty consistent in getting their supports into the team fight on Junkertown. I felt they played okay on Anubis, making team fights a little bit longer, using their self-destructs pretty well. I thought they were all right. I thought Sigma Balls was probably the standout player for Eminence.
Yeah, but honestly, we're not going to end it just yet because I want them to see these stats. I want them to see Sigma Balls. Get a little love. The name, you're getting some favoritism. So this is the D.Va onto the Anubis. And I've got to say, that is a lot of damage blocked.
That's a lot of damage eaten. You're right.
I think it's not only just like getting hit by the shield or blocking that damage with your own mech, but just eating consistently. I feel like as a D.Va, you did your job. There weren't many ultimates to eat, so you're kind of relying on your team to get that major value. But still, for a D.Va for the long term, you did your job.
Yeah, and you're the play-by-play. You like a bit of action, so why don't you decide our MVP today?
Ooh.
On the side of Snowdon.
Honestly, if I have to go with the MVP, I'm gonna have to say Furby, because I feel like no matter what role Furby was on, no matter what map Furby was getting an immense amount of value. Like, only close to, like, Mystery. If Mystery had a bit more execution onto the Junker time, probably would have given them, because they made so much space. They're an amazing leader from what I'm, like, just seeing by gameplay-wise. And honestly, I'm just absolutely amazed, but Furby gets it just from how essential value and just existing allowed them to win those fights.
Yeah, I feel like if Junker Time didn't happen, then you'd probably give it to Mystery, but Furby was consistent throughout the series, so I can definitely agree with that. I thought both those two were absolutely amazing. I thought Snowdon were pretty good, but those two are probably the standouts, yeah.
Yeah, and, you know, when I go to bed tonight, I'll be praying to Furby. But either way, this is kind of the end of match 1 of today for GGEU. But that doesn't mean we're over just yet, so please stay tuned as we get a little makeup refresh, because we have another match, 2 orgs, well, 1 org, 2 teams going up again. So stay tuned, as we'll be right back.
Healing that's coming up from them, and then the Ana goes down after that, and it was just quick cleanup. Resignations and Witty really clutching out in the DPS department for SM, and they've got first capture crossing 15%. Ultimate's coming up online already. You're going to have Deadeye, and look, we've got Grab Dragons available for that test.
Oh, and they're going to waste no time in committing it. The Graviton comes out. It was there, but it's not going to get any.
Oh, excited. Thank you so much, Sidebjorn. Living up to the beautiful strats from Roar Esports. They're gonna go ahead and teleport directly onto the point, so they will be needing them tantamount.
Nothing to try and eat it with, nothing to stave it off, no support ultimates. They've got a shatter. It might just have to be put in to keep the Bastion ult, but they don't care about this Bastion ult. They've got a Batiste!
Oh man, this is just nutty right now.
This is not something that you want to push in on, but it's going to be the bomb, and the charge into Mansion picks up 3! All of the 3 that you want, the Reinhardt, both of the supports, and this is the fight done already. Frost Dragon
comes.
That's a draft. It does pull out the Transcendence, but the anti-mid gets...
And here comes back on the Doomfist, not hacked up by the EMP critically. Stardrummer has the Deadeye, no hack this time around. Stardrummer gonna clean up the fight, get 3, get the electric cowboy for dancing effect.
This might be the best map for that in all of Overwatch, as we see the whole shot and the headshot.
Bane with the silk thread shot, showing off.
Is it gonna work well against the Ghost Confar as finding or you're not gonna get through this.
I love watching teams that I haven't seen play before play. It's always thrilling.
Round 1.
It really is. It's wild cards, you know, it's something you don't get to see at the higher levels. You know, everybody's, you know, at least been seen usually at lower level matches, so this is always a fun experience.
kryptonite. Can't get this off my mind. Does it only control you? Let me in, I'll help you out. I won't lose you this time. You think you're too far, but I'm where you are, you know. I said I won't leave your side. They left you bare, but I'm begging you, stare in my eyes for you. Yeah, I give my life. Yeah, I'm not here to hear you say you're fine. I can take the pain you hold inside. I wanna know, wanna see it. Can I feel your kryptonite? Can't get this off my mind. Does it only control you? Let me in, I'll help you out. I won't lose you this time. I wanna know, wanna see it. Can I feel your kryptonite? Can't get this off my mind. Does it only control you? Let me in, I'll help you out. I won't lose you this time.
One more wine, one more whiskey, and we just kept the car in park and dim the headlights so we see the stars. Let them tell us where we should. Because there's no way to know how this goes.
They did find Cucumber, but he's gonna lift him.
Oh, Vulcan gets caught right into that, and Speed is going to be able
Oh,
to follow
no.
up. Talking
You
about
let
jumping
him
over to
play
the
too.
Doofus, talking about playing into the
A
Doofus.
manos de la bola. Va, ya son 3 las picks que conseguía el equipo de British Hurricane.
We need your help to decide our opinion outpost MVP of the match.
He's got a minute to kind of work some sort of pick against this Doc, and oh my good lord, he just got eviscerated.
Oh! He's not dead! Hey, now he's dead!
Holy cow, I've never seen someone get so aggressive. Oh, catches their opponent outside of the building, and that is it.
It's Rocket League Wednesday on the High School Esports League home room. I am, as the kids say, vibing right now.
This is just fumes for them, while Pharaoh rips shot after shot after shot of the back of them.
Good wall towards site, but it's already been broken, so they can't even get that spike down trustedly. Camera over towards site, and again, it's getting all that information. Heapbot going absolutely massive!
Here in this map number 4 season, up on championship point, being up 2-1. Nifty dropped down to 19 HP. Joker with his M13 in hand is just trying to hold the angles.
Hey, welcome back, or welcome to anyone who is kind of just tuning in or was here beforehand. We are still going to be your casters, but we are with 2 different teams, something a bit more interesting and yet something still familiar. If you don't know, I'm username _Intel. I'll be your play-by-play here, joined by Ocean on to the analyst /color.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. We now have another matchup between two teams in the exact same organization. Last time around we had two Altiora teams. This time it's two Altera teams. So a lot of A organizations recently, anyways.
Yeah,
Altera Horizon versus Altera Orion.
Yeah, I hope they realize that just because you have an A doesn't like mean that you're more likely to have a streamed match. It looks really bad because we had 4 A match streams so far, but no pun intended, we're still going to be rocking with the expert games. So honestly, still going to be a little bit of a high level, and both of these teams right now, at least when it comes to win record level, are 1-1. So it's a little bit unfair that they have to go up against each other so early, because now they have to prove who's the better one, Orion or Horizon.
Yeah, so this is interesting, right? It's always interesting when you have teams from the same org. You know, do they have similar playstyles? Do they know? Do they know each other's playstyles? I'm kind of looking at the list, see if there's any players that we kind of recognize. I do recognize one player. This is nice. We have Jam Jam on Altera Horizon, who most recently played from on Busted Bournemouth University's roster, which they actually won the Newell season last winter. Last winter, Bournemouth University won Newell. So one of the best collegiate off-tanks in the UK is in the Altera Horizon roster.
Ooh, that's honestly, it gets my bones tingling. I'm not gonna lie, that's really exciting. At least for me, I'm not used to kind of the higher level things. I've worked too much with amateurs, so honestly, this is going to be my first impression on a lot of these players, but I'm not going to lie to you, I'm a little bit scared to see how they're going to be working, because when it comes to these players, they at least seem to have very kind of similar types of play styles, or at least same ways. Both of these teams, when it comes to their favorite heroes, is going to be to that Wrecking Ball Diva. So I think that's the only composition we're going to be seeing. So I think it's kind of like who we get to name as the better of each role comparably.
Yeah, that was nice. We kind of had those sort of mirror matchups in the last match we had, so we were able to kind of see which main side, which flex squid's getting more value. I think it's going to be even more apparent here. And you know what? I'm a little bit disappointed. You were talking about the players. You're like, oh yeah, no, I normally work with amateurs, but I've got professional casters. No, I'm not talking about these guys. The guys we're casting.
Yeah.
Just bit upset.
Gotta put on my fake bow tie, talk about these amazing players who have worked their way up to the highest elo, but I mean, they're ready to just kind of play it out. And the more interesting thing that I'm kind of going to be looking at is when it comes to the ideas and what these maps that we're going to be starting off of, we do seem to most likely kind of be starting on to Nepal, which is going to be an interesting map because these aren't any of these players' kind of favorite maps. And so when seeing kind of how they're going to be playing, I'm wondering, who to be looking out for. Because obviously, the person you called out, your little Yam Yam friend, or Jam Jam. So...
I mean, Jam Jam's going to be in the off-tank role, kind of linking everything together, but realistically, off-tank's not the most important role in this game. Realistically, that's either main tank or main support, so... The identity of this game isn't just going to be because of one off-tank player that I can recognize because of their achievements in the past. It's going to be about the main tanks. It's going to be about the main sports. It's going to be how well how well these teams know each other because they're in the same organization. There's got to be some sort of collaboration there. So let's see which of the teams is set up the best.
Yeah, it's going to be similar to what we talked about before. This is where we might either have a friendly duel or a really intense ego fight where they want to say, I'm the better team. You get bragging rights over it, which is personally me, I would go for. I'm a bit when it comes to that.
Yeah.
But
I mean, also, you're kind of saying to the organization, hey, we want more resources than they do, right? I mean, I'm not saying Altera is an organization that would do that, but I'm saying I own an esports org. If I had two of my teams playing in the same tournament, one of them beat the other, I'd be like, okay, hey, they get more resources. Simple as that.
Yeah,
they're the better team. They're working harder. They're well set up. Yeah, that's what I'd be kind of looking at here.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they're scrim partners and each player knows exactly who to go up against or how to play against. But I think on Nepal, we got to talk about it earlier, but it is a very strange map because it is very favorable to, more specifically, the kind of brawl/rush composition, but we have seen other Wrecking Ball types of things being played.
Yeah, so this could be interesting. Again, we can see brawl, we can see rush, we can see... There's a lot you could play on the pole, right? It can be quite versatile. Previously, this map would just be brawl v brawl, right? Especially on Shrine and Village. Sanctum earlier, we saw some Zen Break, Wrecking Ball poke comps, and then we also saw some. We also managed to see some Rush as well, so it can be quite versatile. Then we saw some Wrecking Ball, Pharah dive on Village, which is where we're going to start off here yet again. So we can see more compositions. Are we going to see Brawl? I suspect so. No, it's Ball Diva for both teams. Yeah, like you were predicting beforehand.
Yeah, I'm still excited to see how they're going to be running out because I always think the Ball v Ball or kind of that composition. Oh no, we do see a bit of switch. I was going to say those are so intense matches because it's all about like counterplay, at least in my idea. But we see them most likely going to be running out onto the Brawl, and we saw this similarly. So would you like to? Oh, okay, they're playing with my heart. But how does the Wrecking Ball go up against the Wrecking Ball?
Round 1.
Well, Wrecking Balls realistically are not gonna interact with each other. If a Wrecking Ball is taking a fight with a Wrecking Ball, then both your Wrecking Ball and Tracer is not getting the value that it should be. Usually on escort maps, this is extremely apparent where you sometimes see Wrecking Balls and Tracers take ego deals with each other that they really shouldn't. They really should be kind of focusing on the other team's backline and disrupting some players. Jam makes sure he gets the first kill of the game, goes on to the Mercy, and that means that, let's be real, Eminence is going to get a lot more bounty than this Nutty Nanza Echo play.
Look at that caster bias already coming in, giving Jam a bit more pressure and the ability to take out Vlad. They now have full control over this point. The Diva and Ball can't do anything to move in, and Horizon looks like they're going to be setting up to kind of have some form of way to be able. They can kind of play this however they want.
Yeah, and now it's really difficult for Altiora Orion. Why is it so difficult? Because it's so hard to walk into Embarra, right? This bar is already set up. There's so much spam damage, and while you walk in, right, if you do get into a team fight, you're going to be immediately greeted by a pile drive from Jongo. Your Yuki's going to be there. It's just going to be really hard for them to walk in. But if they can get in and get Nanza some value, they'll be in a pretty good spot.
Yep, look at that. Jam once again going to be taking out the Mercy immediately. That means the Echo's not going to be getting as much value as they need to. The Pharah's going to be doing so much. They get that Nano, and now you go after the Ana, but you get shut down. You're stuck with the Diva wakes you up, so now your Ana saying, who woke him up? We lost our Echo because of that, and now they're going to be able to push forward. Look at this. Horizon managed to secure another team fight win, even if they lose their Pharah. It is resible.
Yeah, so Jam, both team fights in a row. Let's pay attention to that. Gets the first kill of the team fight onto the Mercy. How is that happening? Is the Ana maybe missing shots on the Mercy, or is Nutty Nanza maybe playing too aggressive, which means the Mercy's out of position a little bit more, maybe not paying attention to where the Mercy's going to be positioned if they make that sort of movement change? Speaking of, Nutty Nanza now has the Nano Boost and the Duplicate.
It's absolutely going to be massive because they now have built up this copy, and Echo does so much damage as it is. They look like they want to be taking out the Ana Mup. Mup is getting either so much peel or has the moves like Jagger because they're able to dodge every form of damage, and it seems that Horizon's going to be benefiting from it. We do see the copy going onto the Diva, trying to make anything, trying to save this out, but you're not able to save anything, and now you're being staggered not only as a baby Diva, but as an Echo. We're now at last fight territory, and I don't know if anyone can touch.
I mean, maybe Tim or Tracer Myth, right? So maybe you can get them to touch. They have ultimates as well, but this got slapped!
Oh, this is not looking good. The mines are being placed down. They have to walk into it. Jam does also have this bomb for the Valkyrie Mercy, but it seems that they're going to be on a different objective. Everyone else on the side of Orion are struggling just to find any form of contest because they can sit there all they want, but they're not finding any picks. They're not finding any value. Ego does have this Demon Bomb to be able to use, and it seems they managed to sleep the Valkyrie Mercy, because so they're going to be stuck alone, which is a bit unfortunate. However, the Diva is still being able to, it's going to be able to make this time bank still be in the favor of Horizon and at 99 to 99, but the bomb is being placed, and really there's just nothing you could do because they get LOS'd off, and it seems that Horizon, and I gotta say, pretty convincingly managed to win off the first round of Nepal.
I'm gonna be honest, it was pretty poor from Orion. Horizon were good, I think. You know, you're always gonna see like the Diva go up into the Pharah or Echo Mercy's face, right? You're always gonna see that, but you're never ever, or rarely ever, gonna see the Diva get a kill onto the Mercy, let alone 2 team fights in a row. Someone there has made a pretty big mistake. I don't know if it is the Mercy. Could be. It could be the Ana. It could be the Diva. It could be anyone really. We haven't really got we're not really reviewing this. We're kind of watching this live. But someone has made a consistent mistake there in the first 2 team fights. Altiora Horizon used their ultimates pretty disciplined. Orion at some points put a lot of resources into them up on the Ana. I just couldn't kill them, right? So It was a really poor round from Orion. A pretty good, consistent round from Horizon. And look, Overball's down again.
I don't know if Vlad just cannot play the game or they're just focusing, but it's completely rude. Django does get slept, but immediately woken, and yet Orion's going to have a lot of difficulty when it comes to moving into that point. Not only because they don't have the Mercy for a damage boost or anything, but their Tracer's having a 1v1 in the bottom of the point with Yuki, and is somewhat winning. The point's now uncaptured, Horizon having full control in the way that they kind of want to move in. While Orion are sitting there saying, hey, we need to find out a pick. Yuki's very low, but they're going to somehow manage to escape. Our Mercy is being focused out of the sky. And look at this, just being able to win out. Sure, that's one ultimate use, but that's over 3k damage being done on to Django. And look at that, they're just being able to move forward. The D.Va is slept, and it just seems Orion don't have anyone to kind of help each other follow up on anything. They're completely split, which I mean, hey, it works in the Wrecking Ball competition, but not when your team doesn't have anyone to follow up on damage.
I think Orion needs to play a lot faster. Maybe that's the problem. Like, Jungle have a lot of time to spam onto that Mercy and then eventually just go for that kill whenever it's kind of feasible to go and get that kill. They're not playing fast enough. You're playing a Sephora for heck's sake. Like, modern day Overwatch, you don't even play hit scan to kind of far usually. I mean, sometimes you do, but most likely you're just going to play extremely fast with like a Sombra Tracer rush and go, go, go. That's not what they're doing right now. They're playing extremely slow.
Yeah, I'm loving to see the pressure that Yuki's being able to play on. They're having to put so many resources, like 2 to 3 people, just to try to take them out. It takes them so long. Now they're in the favor, but they lose their Mercy again. No. Stop focusing them down. They want to play the game. Now Suki does manage to find out Vic, which is sort of on the bright side, and it seems that Orion finally have the plays that they've been looking for because they get the recapture. And Horizon's going to have to try again, but on the bright side, they stopped it at around 65%.
Yeah, so now it's not even one fight territory, so like, if Horizon get this back, it's not the end of the world. Orion will have another fight. A good thing for Orion is, you know, they're not at the top of the Mercy and the Brigitte, they're going to have a little bit more defensive stability there, and having their Brigitte in their honor position tightly. Of course, Yuki's been harassing Natsuki a lot, but they've also got a lot of ultimates. They're going to have 4 ultimates online. So how they use them, they can use that duplicate early or that post bomb early. As well. I think one sort of early proactive ultimate could start off this fight pretty well for them.
Yep, now this is where they're kind of getting set up. We do see they have a bunch of ultimates on both sides. They're set up, but Natsuki's anti. There's not much you could do as they're eventually going to be found out, but it does seem that Muff is not going to be having the skills to be able to survive. Ego and Nutty are doing their best to be able to play that D.Va to try to shut them down, and it seems to be working in their favor. I mean, they had to use the majority of their ultimates. They have secured their fight and pretty much moved the time pick more into their favor.
That was an awesome team fight for Orion. That's the best approach we've seen from them, right? They used 2 proactive ultimates, the Echo Duplicate, the Wrecking Ball Mines. That's great, right? Instantly puts that fight into their favor, and that's awesome for them. And we also now see that they've moved over to the break. Their main support hasn't died this team, but I think that's at first. They have this pulse bomb. That's going to be the critical key for them. If they can get something at the pulse bomb, they can definitely keep themselves alive in this fight. However, if they don't, Altiora Horizon have a lot of advantages. They got their own pulse bomb, a self-destruct, and a minefield. And Nano is coming up too.
Yeah, this bomb pops out, and Vlad may not be on the Mercy, but you move back into the pulse bomb. That's going to be a little bit embarrassing, and it seems that the focus fire is absolutely immaculate. Django does have the mines to be able to use, especially on this next attack, because if we're real and we're honest with each other, the Wrecking Ball can only stall so much when an Echo is your opponent. They're able to melt it down and stop it at around 97%. So this is one fight territory where Orion had the opportunity to kind of win this.
That was always going to be a difficult team fight for Orion, right? They didn't really have much. It was always going to have to be a Myth Pulse Bomb, and that's so much pressure on one player. Maybe the tanks could have played a little bit more aggressive to try and catch out the honor. Both teams this time around will have Nano Boost. That's something we're going to watch out for. How are both these teams going to use the Nano Boost? Probably the Echo. On both sides is going to receive the Nano.
Yep, this is now where they're looking to make something happen. Horizon definitely don't want to lose this, especially after losing Muff with the Nano. But it seems the mines are going to be placed onto the point, especially in this one fight territory. Now we see the ultimate starting to black out, and it seems that Django's finally being able to get value off those mines. As everyone tries to retreat to say, let's touch point, and then get punished because they weren't exactly prepared for this mega IQ play. And honestly, that's what helps Horizon manage to finish off Nepal in a nice 2-0.
Yeah, I think Horizon were the better team throughout that map. I thought Overwatch should not have died that much. That's a lot. That's a lot. I don't even think it's their fault, but yeah, even if the tempo is bad and it doesn't really suit playing against the far, you should not be dying that much. First in the team fight. when you're a main support player.
Yeah.
No, why?
Yeah.
I mean, even if you're stuck on pocketing and your Echo's made a positioning error, surely you should be able to do a quick 180 fly back to your Ona, help heal for them a little bit. I thought it was really poor main support play on Orion. Got a couple of good moments on Shrine, and they were a little bit better. And I don't even think it was the break top, really.
Yeah,
nah, I thought it was poor. I thought Orion were really poor that map.
Yeah, but let's bring in that D.Va comparison, because honestly, I could talk about the main supports all I want, but in the end, it's just simple as not dying. And now we get to see Ego versus Jam Jam, and while Ego's getting more damage and a more damage block, I feel like Jam Jam's being a lot more of an aggressive D.Va, and that seems to be working in their favor.
I mean, let's be real. Those stats, damage done and damage blocked, what do they really mean? Because let's put this on the honest side. Did they really do any damage, Orion? Apart from a couple of fights on Shrine, they didn't really get their Echo involved because their Mercy was dead 24/7. I mean, Jam Jam was maybe eating nades, and then look at this. Look at the 9 final blows to 0. It is very, very telling of how poor Orion have been. Not necessarily Ego. That their D.Va, their off-tank, their connector, who's involved in most things, has 0 final blows.
That hurts a lot, and I think that's kind of a given just from the fact that they were kind of ignoring the D.Va a lot. But to see Ego not being able to kind of finish out kills, especially they have the same amount of ult to use, so that means they're building them up at similar times or using them at similar times. It just seems that Jam Jam is being either put into the position to be getting more value, or is putting themselves into the position to get more value, and that's absolutely amazing.
Yeah. So it's not a question of Ego is a bad D.Va player, Jam Jam's a better D.Va player. What it is realistically, Jam Jam's more involved. I think, for example, let's look at this defensively. When on earth did Jam Jam have to go and peel for their flex support? They probably should have on Village, but they didn't need to, because MVP just somehow lived on Village, right?
Map is different.
Where they put a lot of resources into them. Jam Jam's never really had to go and peel and eat damage. That's realistically what Ego has been doing most of the time. Eating damage from that Tracer, from Yuki pressuring Natsuki. So of course the damage block is going to be higher, but that big fat egg is concerning me.
I've got to say, yeah, for the long term, that's going to be worrying, but for the short term, it's not that big of an issue, because we already know what map we're going on to next, and that's going to be King's Row. I had to say the Scrim's Row joke because everyone says it, so I feel like I have to kind of keep it in.
You have to.
But look, it pretty much brings things more into a central thing. I think this is where Orion can kind of start bringing it back if they feel like it, because honestly, I think we can both be honest, it's a lot easier to have more simple control. I think Horizon, you have to be a little more cleaner. It's much more of a different playstyle than the Wrecking Ball comp.
Let's be real. Brawl, to like a simple standard of Brawl, like just to get to a decent level of Brawl, not an immaculate level, it's quite easy to get there. So I think you'll probably see that from both teams, and you'll probably see a pretty consistent level of Brawl just because they were like 4.1 maybe. Roughly there. That's probably the elo we're at. So we're probably going to see a good, strong standard level of Brawl, and nothing further than that. The question is, which counterpart gets better value? We saw in the last round that we think Jam Jam just edged the D.Va duel. I thought Yuki was better than Mist. I thought Nemenaise was better than Nanza. I thought Jongo was better than Tim. Realistically, all the players, right? It's really difficult to talk about, isn't it? Right? Because it was such a one-sided map. Now we're going to a match where it's Brawl versus Brawl, probably. Yeah, it's Brawl versus Brawl. Also, Horizon are trolling us a little bit. They might play Rush. That's definitely a possibility. I can definitely see this turning into a Rush composition with Jongo Winston, Nemenaise maybe goes Sombra, and Yuki goes Reaper, something like that. And Yuki will be on like, okay, no, it's going to be Brawl. Just looking at the switches they're making at the moment.
I feel like Horizon...
it's going to be Brawl.
I feel like Horizon, each of their players were born with like a genetic defect where their foreheads are just 10 times bigger, because it just seems they're just able to kind of big brain a lot of these plays. Although, I want you to kind of tell me, the only time I've ever seen Dive or Rush be played on King's Row has ever failed. How do they Horizon work this?
Well, I don't think they're going to do it. I think they're just going to go standard Brawl, but they did. They got extremely decisive They were playing Sombra very interesting. They got to wait for a hack and just kind of see what they could do based off with that. That's not necessarily going for the hack target. You have a Diva and that backline's vulnerable. You have the Baptiste, then that Reinhardt's vulnerable. That sort of thing. You've got to be really intelligent with it, but it's going to be Brawl versus Brawl, and both teams are going to meet just outside the hotel.
Oh, that's an amazing Mei wall, and that's a better Mei counter wall. It just seems nobody's really going to get too much value off of it, but the Immortality was used onto Horizon first. They do put some damage onto Time, and it seems that they have their own Immortality to kind of keep them safe while Myth is able to find out the Mei, which is pretty much guaranteed the fact that they can just move forward, but Horizon have an amazing rotation and manage to disengage.
Yeah, so we're seeing the Symmetra variant, which can be a little bit sharper on rotations, right? You can take a lot more off angles. And yo, I like this adaptation for Horizon. They don't want to play the Brawl matchup anymore. They say, okay, they're on like a standard Brawl composition. Okay, let's do something that counters that. Wrecking Ball, when they're rotating, let's Power Drive. When they're rotating, our Fora's going to get a lot of value. When they're rotating, our Chaser's going to get value. That's what they're playing like right now.
This is incredibly rude! Although that teleporting is a good strategy, you set up your Baptiste to have some area to move, but they don't manage to escape fast enough, and now your Reinhardt doesn't have anybody to help for. There wasn't a peel fast enough, and it just seems the Wrecking Ball composition, it just works so perfectly as they're able to win off of like that one fight, build up barrage, and be set to how they want to push in for the Streets phase.
So they were going to rotate into you know, the kind of, what's the variant we call it, the mega health pack area of King's Row, and then walk up the stairs. I think they should have done that. They just kind of stopped and provided that Fora a lot of spam time. Just Eminence is up to that Fora barrage already. I think they should have kept going, maybe walked up the stairs all together, then they would have had the symmetric teleporter. Maybe they could have teleported them onto MVP. They need to stay consistent. They need to go on to maybe more immobile targets. Who are these more immobile targets? Well, it's going to be the Ana, isn't it? You've got to get onto that Ana as much as you can, and then from there, that fight might be one of those. As long as you keep moving.
That was such an confusing engagement. We see the tanks get hit with the anti, but it looks like Orion, they weren't fully on the same page when they brawled down. It was more of Horizon being caught off guard, but it seems that Victorlo is going to be able to finish off the Lucio. This is still in favor of Horizon because not only are they playing a comp that comes back fast, but everyone is like, Orion is not fully 6, so they are going to be kind of struggling trying to make things happen, especially by using that bomb to kind of invest. They're all stacked. Yuki has the pulse bomb, can basically jump on them, pop it down. They really need to be ready for this Mei, but it looks like the Immortality is just barely going to be able to save them.
Oh yeah, I had a massive pickup. Anyways, maybe on to this next team fight.
Oh, but Django!
Django's just saying, get power drive.
Yeah, Django manages to get that power drive, manages to find out two of the most important opponents, and especially with the belt, they have enough damage and heals to continue going forward. I don't really think you want to invest too much, especially since you have the Blizzard, because you're freely being able to stall. But how do you fit that Wrecking Ball inside that small crevice to kill the Mei? What?
I don't know. I really don't know. Apologies for that. I had the worst hiccup ever, and I tried to swallow a hiccup, and I was just worst timing ever. Nicely handled there. Right. Orion, that team fight, that first team fight on point B was actually really good. They took a really long rotation where they couldn't get spammed down by the Fora and walked under the backline. That gave them a team fight victory, and then Django just came up with whatever magic that was through that crevice. He's going to engage early here with pile drive, and probably the barrage is going to come with it. Here it comes.
Yep, look at that high noon being used. The Diva Bomb stuck inside of them. The sound barrier has to be used, and the Immortality gets broken, so we see Jam popping up the music. Myth is already dangerously low. It's going to be killed before anything, and I feel like this payload is really going to be able to move because, unfortunately enough, Orion, they don't have anyone on their team that can stall.
Yeah, okay, there you go. They didn't just throw the barrage at it with the power drive. They threw bloody everything. And that's so barrier realistically did nothing. I mean, yeah, you always throw that sound barrier down anyway in case they it can keep everyone alive. Of course it couldn't. Now look, Yuki, ready to try and catch them on rotation. Probably gonna use this bull strike here. Just gonna be patient, maybe try and force out the Immortality field. Can't quite get it out, and is probably now gonna try use the pulse bomb to force out the Immortality field.
They mostly wait for the DM, and I don't think the Immortality comes out. It was a good kind of patient thing. But look, the Blizzard gets used, but they're caught somewhat in the mines. If they try to move forward, they're immediately gonna be getting hit. So the Blizzard doesn't get as much as you want. Ego's kind of going after your Ana, but is being melee killed to death. That's incredibly toxic. And unfortunately enough, it looks like Orion, they have to switch over to the Sombra. Nutty is just not getting as much value on the Mei when nobody is there to be Mei walled off.
So, see, when you're playing the standard brawl, you have a really bad matchup against Fora. And what I saw Atlanta ran into in the Overwatch League first, they had who was it? Pelican played Tracer, and that meant that they had options to play a faster playstyle against these horror competitions, and I think 99's going over to the Sombra could have a similar impact.
Oh, but that's so rude. They get the hack a little too late. They lose 2 people in kind of the messy fight, and the Valk is being used, so that res is possible. This is why you see Ego using the bomb and manages to find out too. And the Mercy was looking for the red and the remake kill. Oh my god, Ego's ego has just gotten massive.
It's safe to say that 0 final blows from the last map aren't the thing anymore. And now we see Altiora Horizon. They're going to make another adaptation, right? They're going to go over to standard brawl again. Apart from MVP is going to stay on it because they're close to the nano boost. Why are they doing this? Why are they going back over this brawl match with the Fora match was so successful? It's because of this Sombra pick. It allows Orion to play a lot faster, which means that Fora is not going to get as much value. And now this standard brawl, the actual brawl competition, is probably going to get a little bit more value than this improvised brawl with the Sombra.
Yeah, thankfully they do have not only a Diva Bomb, but the Nano. See, as they push in, the High Noon takes out Dago! They charge and get stunned. And now while they push this payload, it just seems Jam wants to do something with this bomb. It mirrors out, but unfortunately, enough. This is the biggest shot of their life. They need to be able to touch because this is going in a dangerous scenario. The sound barrier is there. It's going to enable them to kind of look for some picks, look for some solve. But it seems that they are struggling. That Book does go out. Vic is going to be found. And it just seems the rest of Horizon are going to be struggling. The High Noon wants to be used to kind of find anyone out, but it has to be canceled. They still get picks as it looks like Tim is being kind of LOS out of there accidentally. And Ego is really the only one there on the point, but there's no stall opportunity. And it's just rude. And they still somehow come back every few seconds now on the Doomfest, but that 1 second boot coming from Jam moving the Baptiste off and that Suki can't touch, and they capture with 1 minute and 21 seconds.
Yeah, Altiora Horizon made some really awesome adaptations. Orion actually made some awesome adaptations as well, so credit to both teams on that. I'm just going to be quite frankly honest in this sense. I think Horizon are just better players in a sense of player for player, they are just a little bit better.
Okay, listen.
Team-wise, a team set up in the way that they're making adaptations, both these teams seem kind of equal. But if we look at player for player, I think Yuki's better than Myth. I think, yeah, Eminence is better than Inanza. Jungle is probably a little bit better than Tim. Flex supports I haven't seen enough of yet. You know, you kind of get what I mean here? I kind of think that they're just individually better players, and they work well as a team as well. Like both the teams are like working well individually. I think both teams are making awesome adaptations, but I think that's what's giving Horizon the edge right now.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna lie. I think Ego is playing a lot better than before, and I think Natsuki's doing an amazing job. Same with Bland, but they're having trouble playing against the Wrecking Ball competition, and this is what's gonna be on the defense. So. But how does the Wrecking Ball work? Because I feel the Brawl can basically run onto whoever they want, especially the support line.
Well, see, they've got a long distance to travel. I mean, what benefits the offense here is they've got a lot of natural cover. For example, they've got the... Oh, okay, nice headshot. Gotta get the scope critical accuracy up. They've got this statue to move around the hotel. They've got a lot of natural cover, which is helpful. But they've got a long distance to travel. That's where Nemeneze, Yuki, Jongo, that's where they get the value. If they catch them on rotation, with a pile drive, for example, and the rotation isn't sharp, they're in trouble. And when I say catch on rotation, you always want to move against the far and be mobile, so you're always going to be on rotation. But if you aren't moving, you're going to die as well to the pile drive. This is why Far and Wrecking Ball comes, and Tracer Somber comes, and Wrecking Ball are so powerful, because if you stop moving, you're going to die. You keep moving, you're going to maybe get caught on rotation. You've got to make it a sharp rotation, and you've got to walk onto the targets that you need to, and you've got to do it fast.
Yeah, that was a nice ante, and I'm loving the resource management from Time and Ego. But look, they're wasting a lot of it just to be able to rotate. Luckily, though, they do find out Nem, so they have to put in resources. Either they'll somehow get that res, it somehow fails just barely, so at least they have this in their favor, but they need to be able to touch in time to take control. They're waiting just to be able to have something, using that Diva to kind of bait them down, or at least the tanks, because the squishies go down, and they're absolutely done for. And we see Horizon, they're going to be playing nice. They're going to say, hey, you can capture a tick, you can maybe capture 2, but we still have ultimates, and we're coming back. And yet Myth is just going to say, it's Dave O'Clock going to be able to shut you down. Yuki does have this pulse bomb to try to put this more into the favor, but Ego is paying such a close attention that they pick them off before they can even find anything. So sure, your team is now coming back, but you basically have given them this point.
Okay, so I actually really like that from Orion, okay? You know, I just kind of said that Horizon is a little bit individually better, okay? They didn't like that very much. That was a lot better. Really cool rotation up to the high ground. It was sharp. They stopped when they needed to, and the Far was unable to get value, right? You saw Eminence tried to get value there, was a little bit too aggressive, picked off by Myth. Then they stopped off at the high ground, left their Natsuki and Myth up there, which meant when they could kill Eminence easily, and then they could rotate onto MUP with their tank line. So they stopped at very specific points to put players in positions and make them hard to approach, but also made it so they can make faster rotations.
Yeah, look at this. This fight's already coming out with a massive kind of ult fest. They want to be able to find something, at least when it comes to this commitment, and it seems that the Far is going to be found out early. I'm wondering how long this is going to last, because Myth has been adapting. Now with them using that window, anyone who kind of comes into their own range is immediately going to get shot. I think a headshot with this, Myth is able to kind of kill you instantly, and they basically have swapped sides. We see as they're just able to kind of push this payload, and they're not really worried too much. Sure, they lose Natsuki, but they'll be able to come back on Moira.
Oh, that's barrage!
Still, it looks like that barrage is being committed in. They wanted to use it. They managed to kind of find out Myth with it. And now this is where slowly we see Orion not being able to play. They're stuck inside this small area. Their Reinhardt moves out, and they're somewhat smooth. The Mei is being pressured, but they managed to freeze out the D.Va, use that Blizzard, have some room. That bomb gets placed, but it's easily going to be shielded. Wait, time drops it for like a millisecond or something, and then immediately dies. That's not, that's a really unfortunate, because that means they've just lost this fight. Even with the amount of ultimates they have, I think you just need to reset, refresh, and come back and ask yourself how that happened.
Yeah, I'm a little bit unsure as well. That was honestly a really cool barrage from Eminence. It was a really good rotation out of the room. It was the right call from Orion, because if they were stuck, they were going to get spammed down. But Eminence knows that their opponents know that that's the right call, so that they just hang on the edge of the room, and once they make the rotation out, they get barraged. And Myth Tornado is certainly not going to help Orion's case. It means that they're going to get staggered out a little bit. 2 minutes 47 left on the clock. It's fine if you want to finish them up, but you need to do a little bit more than finish them up to compete with Horizon at the moment.
Yeah, I do like seeing the mines being used to slow them down, because now they have to use that speed boost and natural cover as much as possible. But, and wait, they find out Mup. That's absolutely massive. Now they're using this bomb, amazingly aggressive, finds out the Mercy, and that's more than enough that you need. There's really only like 3 people on the point, but how much can you do as a Pharah and Wrecking Ball without anyone to enable you to do so? Maybe if they had the Nano, but we just see as Orion are playing patiently, and they're giving a lot of respect to Horizon, and that's how they're kind of able to win this out.
Let's slow things down just a second. Look at this, right, Orion, they've got a chance, 2 minutes just to win that, but point C and maybe a fight on point B. They're going to push their advantage here to try and stop Eminence, and they need to do that, because if they do that, they're a pretty healthy time by going into point C, and if they finish them up with time, they can compete for this map win.
Yep, we see them getting ready. That High Noon is managing to find them out. This is going to be really good for capturing the second point. We see as Horizon wants to do their best to try to stall this out, but Orion have completely adapted and figured out how to play against them. I don't know for how long they want to continue with the Wrecking.
I really like the Tracer adaptation as well for Orion at the moment. And the reason I really like this, saying Atlanta Rain played a version of this, it means you can play Brawl and still have your standard Brawl components. Like, usually you'll see your Kree, for example, your Mei take different angles, and you'll use your Mei as your main win condition. Tracer is here to make sure your Brawl can play faster and have a little bit more options against the far compositions, and I really like this one.
Yep, the barrage comes out, but the immortality is perfect enough to be able to sustain them through it. They do lose their mech. Jim Jam is just not going to be able to defend, and the Brawl's just going to be able to move forward. The mines do come out, and it seems that Yuki is finally going to be able to sit there and say, hey, they're low enough for me to focus on. And the entirety of Orion are going to be coming back, but we do see some swap more onto that Genshi, but still the Wrecking Ball comes.
Yeah, so this is interesting now. Altiora Horizon, they're a little bit stuck on what to do. So I think they're going to just switch to comfort heroes, really. It seems to be working so far as Natsuki goes down, and Jongo's gonna get Ego's mech as well.
Yep, we see them already start to fall down. Nutty is able to find out Django, which is really good, but the Wrecking Ball can come back extremely fast. This is somewhat of a kind of a poke fight as Orion, they're hesitating. They're wondering if they should move back, and it seems that they're not very confident if they should. They might want to just go in as 6.
I think what actually Horizon are trying to do is make this long and maybe win one team fight. They don't even really need to win one team fight to get the time back down to 0. Yeah, they could probably do that with the Nanoblade.
Look at that. We already see Horizon being able to get some picks. It was an interesting pulse bomb, hits the wall, kind of pulled a Fisher or something, and we see Ego is going to be staggered. But I'm wondering how Orion, they seem to be struggling to try to find some engagement. So is Horizon just kind of CCing them so much, or are they just not focusing?
I just don't think they're finding a target at the start of the fight to focus, right? Okay, what are we going to walk on here? I mean, you can maybe try and walk onto the Ana, probably quite difficult. Maybe you could try and be patient, try and bait John go in and maybe go after them. But now that Lemonade has the Dragon Blade, if they win the team fight off this Dragon Blade, I do not think it's possible for Orion to capture a time, and that means this map isn't even winnable for them.
I've got to agree. Look at this blade come out. It's fresh and clean, and it looks like it almost got shattered. Able to find out Myth get that dash reset. But unfortunately enough, the Soundbaiter is there to kind of peel in. But this is now 5v6. And interestingly enough, I didn't realize that Nodi switches over to the Torbjorn. I mean, the turret's good. You have that window, so you are going to be able to pump in that damage. But how much really are you going to be able to get? We do see Yuki looking to not only focus out the support line here, getting in that damage, gets a beautiful combination. But they, on the side of Horizon, have to make something happen. They have the Diva Bomb, but they are struggling to finish it out. It seems the Pulse Bomb got canceled mid-flash, and this is now less than 10 seconds. They need to make something happen. You see them going over to those quick swaps, but they're not 5v6, they're not 6v6. It does seem that Nem dies by falling off the map, and the bomb's going out, looking to find out anyone. It does miss, but it finds out that LOS. They need to keep Nutty alive just to be able to build up that bone core as much as possible. And it seems that Time is doing an amazing job of keeping themselves alive. The payload being able to move. They've lost the time bank, but they still need to capture it if they want to secure themselves some type of a victory or a draw. We go able to find out Vic. As you see the mines being able to place down on point, finding anyone who tries to go into touch, but it's really not even going to be hurting out Horizon. And you see as they try to move it forward, the Molten Core is going to be the solidifier, and it's going to be doing the majority of damage and LOS. And sure, you managed to capture that, but you have no time bank left, so it's going to be a Horizon attempting to get it. If not, it's going to be a draw.
Not amazing, man. That mistake cost them that you know, defending that round. Now they got to take a point soon. I don't know if you saw what happened. Now when they got nanoed, dived onto the Torbjorn, probably was going to kill the Torbjorn, and then just fell off the map and didn't have the dash to get back. So they lost their nano boost and they lost their Genji.
So that's
definitely the reason. Definitely the reason that Orion captured all 3 points. Now Horizon are stuck with a situation of 1 minute 21 seconds to capture a tick. Otherwise, this is a draw.
Alright, I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't see that's how they fell. I just saw they fell, and I've gotta say, that is the most tilting thing. I would retire after that. I truly cannot mentally. So Horizon have to have are probably, you know, doing it on purpose. Maybe they're doing a little bit of trolling. However, it seems that they're running out with a composition that some people call Shadow Dive, Goth Dive, possibly switching over to the Reinhardt. But it seems that Orion actually want to run out on the Wrecking Ball.
Yeah, okay, so they're probably expecting Altiora Horizon to run out on something broy. This is, I guess, something... This is a mixed composition, right? You kind of got your Rush with the Sombra, Winston, and the Diva, and the Lucio. And I'm not sure what we're going to call this. This is just a bad variant of Brawl from Horizon. I think the idea is they want to run the Torbjorn, or the Genji. Okay, so I know I get the idea. They've got the Genji, the Nano Blade as a win condition, and they were going to have the EMP as a separate win condition, but now, okay, no.
Alright, so
what are you doing?
I guess it was scouting, but they just wasted like 20 seconds or so.
They just changed the competition 3 times over. They couldn't make their minds up.
Hey, I love playing Mystery Heroes. It's perfectly fun. But we already see them rushing onto the point. They only need to take it. They want to verify this win. So everybody on the side of Orion have to keep touching. But it seems that they are struggling to kind of keep themselves alive. Natsuki is pumping in a lot of damage, but they're perfectly inside this small room. And they're able to kind of live off that immortality as their main resource. Everyone else is struggling to kind of find them out. They're not being able to kind of find any ult fest or any combination. And look, the window there, that's pretty much a solidifier, because the moment that Times or anyone wants to move in forward, Yuki is just able to shut them down. And we see as Horizon giving us a little bit of Mystery Heroes for fun, but manages to win this out and take King's Road to take the lead.
Honestly, on another day, that sort of Mystery Hero swapping and not deciding what you want to play is going to get you in a lot of trouble. You're lucky here that it worked out. It worked out fine. And I use the word lucky because it is. Realistically, that should have cost you that round, and we should be going into the next map 3 with a 1-0 lead for Alterra Horizon. It is 2-0. They do get the map win, and I guess that's what matters at the end of the day. But in another game, that Mr. Hero swapping is going to cost you. I think Orion played that pretty poorly. They realised that their opponents are in standard brawl. Yeah, they have their Sombra, which might make it difficult for the Wrecking Ball to go in, but they still got their Tracer, who can gauge pretty hard and catch them on that rotation, because that rotation, yeah, it was sharp, but by no means did they really get tested or anything. If the Tracer comes in, maybe that rotation isn't that sharp, and the Sombra gets distracted, then you could get a Wrecking Ball engagement, then that's so you could get some more damage. They didn't test them, and once Horizon got onto the point, that was over.
Yeah, I definitely agree, but I feel like even though we see like Horizon taking the lead, Orion, they're down 2-0. I feel like the real loser is the manager for both of these teams, because how do you sit there and go to coach them? You walk into Horizon, great job guys, good focus, weird things, then you go to Orion like, come on guys, how you gonna let them do that? It's like a two-faced type of situation. You're flipping a coin to see who you have favoritism for.
See, this is interesting, because when you get to these sort of matches, I know these sort of organizations, they are very, very local to the grassroots, and they don't really care about results so much. But I'm sitting here as an Oregon. I've had a team in Korean Contenders previously or whatever, and I have a lot of grassroots projects as well. When my grassroots projects are playing against each other, as I said at the start of the broadcast, that's them telling me, okay, I'm better than this project, I want more resources. Or, hey, look, the last time we played this team, we got absolutely battered. Now it's closer. We've been working really hard. We want more resources. That sort of thing. I don't think that's going to happen here because of the type of organizations Alterra and Altiora are. But in a sort of competitive standpoint, that's what I would be looking at, just from my unique perspective that I have here.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I feel like the break is going to be good enough for where Orion, they seem to be adapting, and I think when we go into map 3, this is where they're finally going to say, we know what we need to do, and we know how to beat our counterparts. So make sure you stay tuned in, because Orion could definitely reverse sweep this. Horizon could 3-0 this. You never know. Either way, we'll see you right after this break.
Healing that was coming up from them, and then the Ana goes down after that, and it was just quick cleanup. Resignations and Widowee really clutching out in the DPS department for SM, and they've got first capture crossing 15%. Ultimate's coming up online already. You're going to have Deadeye, and look, we've got Grab Dragons available for that test.
Oh, and they're going to waste no time in committing it. The Graviton comes out. It was there, but it's not going to get any.
So excited. Thank you so much, Sidebjorn. Living up to the beautiful strats from More Esports. They're gonna go ahead and teleport directly onto the point, so they will be meeting them tantamount.
Nothing to try and eat it with, nothing to stave it off, no support ultimates. They've got a shatter, it might just have to be put in to keep the Bastion ult, but they don't care about this Bastion ult. They've got a Batiste!
Oh man, this is just nutty right now.
This is not something that you want to push in on, but it's going to be the bomb, and it charges a Mansion picks at 3! All of the 3 that you want, the Reinhardt, both of the supports, and this is the fight done already. Frost Dragon
comes.
It does pull out the Transcendence, but the anti-mid gets...
And here comes back on the Doomfist, not hacked up by the EMP critically. Starjumper has the Deadeye, no hack this time around. Starjumper gonna clean up the fight, get 3, get the electric cowboy for dancing effect.
This might be the best map for that in all of Overwatch, as we see the whole shot and the headshot.
Bane with the silk thread shot, showing off.
Is it gonna work well against the Ghost Confar as finding people or you're not gonna get through this?
I love watching teams that I haven't seen play before play. It's always thrilling.
Round 1.
It really is. It's wild cards. It's something you don't get to see at the higher levels. Everybody's at least been seen usually at lower level matches. So this is always a fun experience.
We just kept the car in park and dim the headlights so we see the stars. Let them tell us where we should start. And I'm scared as hell because there's no way to know how this goes. But I can't help but say I promise to give you my all. But it might break me. It might break me, break me. It might break me, break me. It might break me down. I won't let you down. But it might break me, break me. Sight of you, it makes me dizzy. And when you're gone, I miss your face. Tonight I'll meet you in our favorite place. And just can't let this wait one more day. But I'm scared as hell, and there's just no way to know how this goes. And I can't help but say, trusting why you are so beautiful. But it might break me. It might break me, break me. It might break me, break me. It might break me down. I won't lay you down. But it might break me, break me. It might break me, break me. It might break me down. But it might break me. It might break me. It might break me. It might break me down. But it might break me. But it might break me, break me. It might break me, break me. It might break me down. It might break me. I know the story of your life through winter storms and summer skies. There was a time when you were young and free. So let's go back to the beaches where I always make you laugh, to the forest where we found a hidden path, to the summertime of 2005, when we were still alive, when we were still alive.
They did find Cucumber, but he's gonna lift him.
Oh, Vulcan gets caught right into that, and Speed is gonna be
Oh,
able to follow
no.
up. Talk
You
about
let
coming
him
over to the
do.
Doofus, talking about playing into the
A
Doofus.
manos de la bola. Ya son 3 las picks que conseguía el equipo de British Hurricane.
We need your help to decide our opinion outpost MVP of the match.
He's got a minute to kind of work some sort of pick against this Doc, and oh my good lord, he just got eviscerated.
See? He's not dead! Hey, now he's dead!
Holy cow, I've never seen someone get so aggressive.
Oh, catches their opponent outside of the building, and that is it.
It's Rocket League Wednesday on the High School Esports League home room. I am, as the kids say, vibing right now.
This is just fumes for them, while Pharaoh rips shot after shot after shot of the back of them.
Good wall towards site, but it's already been broken, so they can't even get that spike down trustedly. Camera over towards site, and again, it's getting all that information. Ebot going absolutely massive!
Here in this map number 4 season, up on championship point, being up 2-1. Nifty dropped down to 19 HP. Joker with his M13 in hand is just trying to hold the angles.
Hey, don't get distracted on us just yet. Make sure you're not tabbed out either, because I know you can probably either hear our voice or have this tab muted, and you can see me waving my hand furiously, because we are back with Orion versus Horizon. Horizon leading in the 2-0. Caster's not changed. Still me, who's in the Munster Intel, and Ocean, as we sit here and we get prepared for Route 66. But Ocean, how did you feel over the break? You've had a bit of time to recollect your thoughts.
Honestly, I was going to the bathroom there in the break. I wasn't really thinking about the game at the current moment, and I was trying to navigate my way to the bathroom without the light on, and I walked into 2 walls. So I was actually thinking about a lot of other things. Seriously thinking about my life, to be honest. But yeah, let's think about what we thought about before the break then. Instead, Altiora and Horizon have been the better team. just player for player. They almost screwed themselves over a couple of times on King's Row. They let Orion capture after Nemesis got the nano post and dashed off the map, which I find absolutely hilarious. And then they had some mystery hero shenanigans on their attacking run when they needed one tick of point A to complete the map and win. And they almost screwed themselves over with that, but they didn't. They're here 2-0 up. Orion have been the slightly worse team. Both teams have been pretty adaptable and pretty intelligent, but Horizon's still the better team for me. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a 3-0.
Yeah, honestly, I've got to say it's a bit more interesting, but we are going over straight to Route 66, and Route 66 in itself is I think, more interesting map to be able to see us come out, because we've mostly been seeing the Wrecking Ball composition come out. So, while I think it works, I don't know how well both defending sides are going to play, because I really just expect this to be like a Wrecking Ball v Wrecking Ball, both teams just trying to do their best to kind of outplay each other, if I'm correct.
I wouldn't be surprised. I think Wrecking Ball Diva, Wrecking Ball Sigma competitions are really good on this map. With Zen Brig, Zen Mercy, any of that sort of Mercy Zen even. Like you've got a lot of options. You could even use Baptiste as well. You've got a lot of options, right? Essentially on your offense and defense. There's also double shield options. You could run standard rush with or 6-man, you could call it that as well, with Winston, Diva, Somber Tracer, Lucio Moyer. That's also pretty good here. Route 66 is quite a versatile map. You could also run standard brawl with Cowboy May, Diva, Reinhardt, Lucio Baptiste. I like Route 66 because of that. But I do think both teams will run like Ball Diva, probably Zen Brig or Honor Mercy, something like that, and then maybe an Echo and a Tracer. All right, okay, we got the offense right, and the defense is running double shield. That
No. Look at them. They're guilty. They knew we were watching them. You saw as like Myth started to AD straight. My heart dropped. I'm gonna let you continue because oh my god.
Yeah. I thought we were gonna see the Bastion. Yeah, I did think we might see double shield. The Bat Break made me think that we might see it because of course you would run Bat Break if that's sort of defensive style double shield. Both teams running Ball Diva and Altiora Orion are running the Somber Tracer line, which you do see pretty commonly with Wrecking Ball Diva and Zenyatta Brigitte. But you first of all saw it with the Winston Diva rush composition. So we are getting some elements of that I expected, and then offense is the old style Ball Diva, like the really old style Ball Diva that used to be Ball Sigma composition, where you used to run Ash Tracer or Echo Tracer. But they're running Honor Mercy, so they're running the Mercy variant to give Nemesis more value. So these are kind of like, this is like the new style of Winston Diva Rush, and also the old style of Ball Diva. So yeah, this is interesting.
Oh, that's even ruder. Times wants to go to get a mega health pack. Not only does it get taken, but it was hacked. So Yuki's gonna be found out was a little bit too over. But I think Nutty being on the Sombras is like the smallest kind of upset that will be happening, because no matter what Horizon tried to do, somebody's gonna be hacked. And for a team that's all mobility, that's only gonna be an issue.
Yeah, and also EMP, right? EMP is always something to think about. It's such a good ultimate. It's a bit too good of an ultimate, that's good. But I like EMP matchups personally. I think they're really, really fun. With Trial of Champions around this time last year, I loved seeing Somber versus Somber, Lucio versus Lucio in the EMP wars. That was awesome. And this fight starts to take place, but Suki's been found in the back somehow.
Ooh, that's not looking too good, especially with the entirety of your team already going down low, and yet Nutty is able to build up this EMP the moment Myth builds up that pulse bomb. I've never seen an ultimate build up so quickly in comparison to another DPS. I think it's normally one after the other, but honestly, they still have room for another attack if they truly want one.
I think they want to come back in here with the EMP. I mean, you saw Shanghai in the Overwatch League would actually take the EMP sequence with just 3 members. That's how good the ultimate is. If he connects on the 3, and in come Orion, but are they even going to win the team fight?
Yeah, the nano is used from Mup, so they have some sustain. It does look like the Transcendence is used to keep everyone alive, but it doesn't save Ego's mech. They really aren't being able to focus anyone out, and it just seems that they're kind of struggling to really have one person to focus down. The entirety of Horizon are just kind of doing a good job of leaving themselves so split that it's eerily annoying. Even we see them just kind of, the Echo being able to move inside the backline, then everyone who kind of walks in just immediately starts taking damage. Even Mup has a little bit up on the fun, getting 2 kills.
I like this from MUP. I like these stats. So you get made wrong, but you actually see that MUP has done like what, about half as much damage as healing. Usually you see honors at 4K level. They don't do enough damage, and they just like are little heal bots, and I don't like that. I mean, yeah, when you're trying to charge Nano Boost or Winston, you can become a heal bot, and then that's a win condition, then you can do a little bit more damage, that's fine. But MVP doesn't seem to have that sort of trait, doing a lot of damage as well as healing for their team.
I like seeing them playing this very early fight, especially when Orion had to use the rally really early. The bomb comes out, but the remake kill gets the Zenyatta! You were just stuck. Ego couldn't even help you. I mean, luckily there is that bomb remake, and the mines are kind of stopping Horizon for like a tiny bit of an issue. But still, the majority of the side of Orion have been either stalled, killed, or are retreating from this fight because it just seemed that they just weren't prepared for that very early aggression.
So I really like that sort of proactive team fight, right? I feel like when you're always playing proactively, your opponents are on the back foot. That means playing reactively. And when you're consistently, reacting things, as I said, you're on the back foot, you don't really get to make decisions. You're not going to have the fight at your pace most of the time. Yeah, you could be playing reactively and also set the tempo. Depends how good your main support is. But it can be quite difficult. And we saw a proactive fight from Horizon, which they won, but we also saw a proactive fight from Orion, which they didn't win with the EMP.
Yeah, this is now really where they want to get this, but they lost the break so early. That EMP is absolutely massive, though, and yet Django's able to counter it out by placing the mines. Even if their team wasn't dead and they could truly contest there, they wouldn't even be able to do anything because there are mines there, and look at that, they captured the second point.
Altiora Horizon are quite good, but Orion, right? That's two EMP team fights. They just haven't been good enough, right? Maybe Eco needs to do a better job of getting the supports into the team fights, so they have Discord orbs after the EMP. Maybe that's something. Maybe Myth needs to play more aggressive after the EMP. I don't really see Myth in the kill feed at all this round. I think Myth's been struggling a little bit. But the EMP timing seemed fine. They seem to get a lot of members, but why are the kills not coming? There's a lot of answers. I think Ego and Myth need to either get their support line in on Ego's side, or Myth needs to be playing more aggressive. But no, that's not going to matter because Dynanos is going over to the home zone.
Yeah, they want to be able to kind of hit that quick pressure, and they're relying on kind of the shield, but still that damage is out there, and it seems that the support line don't have the ability to kind of help out too much. They're being focused out a lot. Even looking at the Orisa was walled off just from the fact that the support line weren't paying attention. Now that we see the dive slowly coming in, we see the copy. The Transcendence is kind of timely used, a little bit too late, but look at this. The payload is yet to stop moving. We do see Nutty build up to that Dragons, but that bomb is coming out, looking to finish them off, just barely managing to miss it out, and we see breaking that copy. That was absolutely beautiful, and luckily enough, Orion managing to win it out just because they got that last pick and a couple stall picks.
Yeah, but usually at Raid 66, you will get a fight on that. You see that corner with the boxes, they're a little bit of high ground. You should get a fight there. Now it's one fight territory, and Alterra Horizon will complete the map, and they know this. They're going over to the Genji Eminence. They've used this a couple of times to try and complete maps. They're going to aim for a Nano Blade. And I think they could do this, right? Because Victorilla is going to have that lovely rally and let that Genji play a little bit more aggressive than Dunaboost.
Yep, they really want to make something out of this. They want to be building up that ult charge more than anything. But it looks like the Orisa is perfectly able to stay bunkered. You lose your Tracer, but that's not going to be the biggest issue. I think the biggest worry is the fact that your Orisa is being pressured out. The mines are now on the point. The Dragons used to LOS, but they still somehow continue to push this payload. They don't really seem too scared of it. Eagle throws out that bomb, hoping to make something happen. It seems Django just loses too much health. We see Vic using that rally. He's going to be able to brawl in, but Nem is not able to really build up this blade fast enough. Taking a couple seconds, a little too long. The window being there is going to be helping to pump in that damage. Yes, they deflect and eat the majority of it. Feel a little bit bad. The Orisa's just trying to play their job, but isn't able to do much. We see them blade now come out, able to hit some style, able to hit some clean. This Vegeta's just not going to be able to do much. Only 1.25 meters left away, and it seems that the Doomfist was figured out, so they're able to capture with a minute and 27 seconds.
Yeah, a really awesome adaptation. They know that they just need to win one more team fight, so they're going to go and try and do it with the Dragon Blade, and they trust Eminence to do that, which is awesome. I mean, you didn't do it on King's Road defense, but you did it that time, so well done. But yeah, let's talk about Orion, because I think that's the main talking about. Horizon played really, really well, yes, but Orion really poor. I don't like the Orisa adaptation. Yeah, they had to change up the Sombra. Why did they have to change up the Sombra? Because their EMP engages were, quite frankly, not good enough. Right? If you're going head-to-head with your fellow organization team, and this is what your organ are saying, they're not going to be happy with those EMP engages. They weren't getting value off of the best ultimate in the game. They weren't getting value out of their support line. They weren't getting value out of anything, so they had to make a change. They went over to Orisa, which is, quite frankly, a really poor matchup against what Altera Horizon were running. They went over there. They had to make a change, but you got to think about that sort of change. Maybe you could have went over to Rush Comp and went after that backline. Maybe that's something you could have done. Or maybe could have played maybe a complete mirror. Something that made sense, and those switches didn't make sense for me whatsoever. Maybe even a switch to a Sigma and poke and still run the ball style, but you're poking instead of rolling when you walk in. So what's different with the Sigma and the Diva? Your Diva walks your supports in, yes? Your Sigma does the exact same thing, so you get nice Discord orbs and get value in the team fight, and they're also in a pretty good position.
Yeah, but
additionally, what Sigma's really, really good is poke value. You can get extra poke value, where the Diva is better at rolling. So Diva you'll see in brawl competitions. They didn't make any sort of logical change after the Sombra wasn't getting value, but they should have been in that situation in the first place. The EMP should have got value.
Yeah, and it seems that they really want to stick onto the composition as they use it for kind of the attacking side. They do find out Yuki, which is absolutely amazing because there's going to be no Tracer harassing you, but there is kind of a bigger issue in the fact that you're not going to be able to control the high ground, and Orion are no longer going to be the kind of attacking side. They're more of just defending while moving the payload because the real engagement is coming from Horizon. We already see them getting healed up. Now they're going to take that rollout. They want to find out the support and hit with so much stun. You can't even escape. The beam is so far out. The nano hits onto the Echo. They start pumping in that damage, but the payload is not really going to be moving any forward. They managed to find out your Orisa. Your Hanzo gets canceled, and just nobody else is going to be able to long-term survive. On the bright side, you do manage to find out Jim Jam Smack. You place down that window, so you still consider this a winnable fight, but I don't know how long you can move that payload.
Now, he knows this 1 HP and untied. He's going to get healed up now. That was really powerful from Django. Just definitely like, just 1.5 seconds too early. You want to make that power jab as soon as they walk out of that round. Minute in the room, and got out to DC to death. Yuki's pulled up this post now, but they're getting watched by Ego furiously.
Yeah, we already see them. Horizon doing a good job of just kind of playing their space. We don't see them really stacked up too much, besides from like the support line, but they're just prepared looking for anyone to isolate. The Pulse Bomb is really going to be the big goal here because you either force out that immortality, as we see it stick on the brain, and it finds out Yuki! That was absolutely kind of individually big brain to stun and stop them from escaping, but now we see that anti-hit, the bomb fall down, and Horizon are going to somewhat be struggling. We see both copy bombs on the point, look to make anything happen, but they're both somewhat kind of in a weird way to do it. Ego even uses their bomb at the last second just to have another one to be able to kind of say, haha, you can't touch. Django does come back with the mines as a way to try to stall, hits that nano, can pump out extra damage on the bright side, but that dragon is used split down midway, able to find some people out, but the rallies here can be able to sustain directly in the middle of this fight. Snowdon, though, is playing kind of in the middle round, is going to be able to be fine as we see them continue to move forward. Django doesn't even have the opportunity to play the mines, was looking for a setting, but struggles, and yet the entirety of Horizon invest a lot, but they don't really get much out of it, besides from a time.
Yeah, I mean, they kept the minefield, which is cool, but realistically, they probably should have used that minefield, then maybe they would have had a chance. Good things for Orion, though, right? They win the team fight, they get on to point B, and they managed to keep a couple of ultimates, to keep the rally and the Supercharger. Arguably two of the most important ultimates. If you didn't know, Supercharger is actually a very underrated ultimate. It actually had the highest team fight win percentage of any ultimate in Overwatch League Season 2. Fun fact, my favourite fact to use on broadcast. And yeah, so that's going to be their win condition next team fight. They've got the rally to play more aggressive with it. Let's see if they can perfect it.
That is a very nice fun fact, I'm not going to lie. But we do see Time using the bongo. The mines are in more of an interesting format than anything because it stops people from crossing the bridge, even though they don't want to cross the bridge. You've now lost your Echo as well, so you're in a 5v6 scenario with no ultimates as an engagement, so Orion can just freely move the payload if it wasn't being contested by the Wrecking Ball.
Honestly, that's a really good team fight for Orion, right? Because they keep the rally. They only use one of their ultimates. They do get a team fight victory, and here it comes. They're not going to use this rally, and they're going to hope that with this rally advantage, they can push the point over into point C.
Yeah, and honestly, it's looking pretty good. They managed to find out the Tracer very early. Sure, they're going to be coming back fast, and you've lost your Orisa, but you still have the Demon Bomb and Hanzo ult, so it's somewhat in your favor. As well as the rally armor going to be able to sustain you for a tiny bit longer, but that nano engagement combined with the bomb has split them up and caused a few into issues, just like Nutty being picked off. Myth, they're not going to be able to survive that window, cannot get any value, and they're all stuck on the wide Cinder. It just seems that they are going to be stickied out and finished off.
Yeah, I'm not sure why Tim plays died, but I'm gonna be honest, they shouldn't have done it. Alright, like they had to rally up, they had most of the ultimates ready to go, and once that Rizzo was dying, Horizon just needed to wait a bit, and then okay, Victrola, it's time to damage boost, it's time to use an nano boost, it's time to go into Eminence, say we're gonna set the tempo here, and Orion had to kite back, and you can't do that against an Echo and the Tracer. It was extremely difficult. Now Eminence is gonna duplicate for next fight. It's gonna be all on Ego, all on Myth. Can they create space for their ultimates?
Yeah, that is a massive anti to hit everyone, especially the tank line. But the Immortality does have to come out just to be able to keep Ego's men. We see the copy come in as Myth drops on the low ground. They're still waiting to find some setup or really any ability to use their ultimate. Nutty does have the copy, uses the mine's going to be dropping it down. The dragon stopping anyone from entering in. It is a trade of the Tracer and the Brig, but they have lost their Echo. Horizon are still not going to be able to kind of clear this out. Django does have the mines, is somewhat of kind of the bright side when it at least comes to this, so they still have at least one type of fight to recontest.
I think that self-destruct from Ego needs to come a little bit earlier. And the reason I say that is 9, that would have meant they could have charged further up towards that self-destruct, but also they started winning the team fight once that self-destruct came out. It provided a lot of space. I think it should have been earlier. Altera Horizon, they will get another team fight. They'll have 2 ultimates to do so, and Minefield and a nano boost.
Yep, this is where the engagement comes in. We see it's less than a minute. They managed to find out Natsuki. That's not going to look good. It just seems Nem is just able to continue moving forward, start shutting people down, and it really isn't going to be punished. That hack also is absolutely amazing. That Echo can't even escape. So now they have to take one more fight in less than 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Nemesis gets another, but I think he'll 5 that team fight. Yeah, they had the Ant Matrix up there, but they didn't kill the Echo. Yeah, I think they were nanoed, but that Echo should have died, right? Nemesis also now 63%. To the duplicate. Last team fight territory, you've got nothing to work with apart from Supercharger and Morale. Yeah, they're your 2 best ultimates, but look, right, how are you going to deal with this, Valkyrie? That tempo is going to be set by Horizon, and you've got tank ultimates as well, right? So, how are you going to set the tempo to get that Supercharger and Rally off?
This is where they activate overtime using that Bongo and Immortality at the same time. This is where they look, and Jacob does an amazing kind of roll out. You do have Myth on the Widowmaker, doesn't react, gets punished for it. This is now where we see them set up. They're taking a lot of damage, and it just seems Orion, they don't have the timing in their favor. They don't have the ability, the heroes, the kills in any type of sense. Even them being able to play the Orisa just to be able to win out on the 1v1, still struggling somewhat. This point is still at 1.73 meters, and they're struggling to kind of finish this out because time is somehow living out. But in the end, it's just not enough as we see Horizon finish out Route 66 and a complete flush of 3-0.
Yeah, they were the better team throughout the series, yeah. Orion made some great adaptations, but some team fights they lost in the worst way possible. Team fights that you should be nailed on to win, they weren't won. No, I wasn't really impressed with Orion today. Some of their adaptations impressed me. Some of their players were fine. Natsuki was good. Inanza had some moments. Ego was fine. But Horizon were just a better team player for player. They won more critical team fights. They had a better idea. Okay, we need one more team fight to win Route 66. Nemesis say, all right, mate, you've got all the resources. Get a Dragon Blade, win assist round. Nemesis did that.
Yeah,
that's what they had to do. Yeah, Horizon made mistakes, right? Of course they did. Kings Row, pretty something up from them, but whatever. Who cares? They're free win.
Yeah, like in all honesty, I'm not too disappointed in Orion. Maybe it was just a bad day, and this is only going to be kind of a tempo for them to move up, saying, we had one bad game, let's never make another one. And on the bright side, you're losing to yourself in a smaller sense, so it's not the worst thing, but I still think that Orion have a lot to work on as a team. Individually, we at least saw some good shining moments, some like plays that made us laugh, made us sad, made us smile, but either way, I think I definitely have to agree with you. Horizon overall, they looked more confident, they had more plays, and they just were able to finish things out more consistently.
All right, so you got to name your most valuable player in the last series.
Yep.
I'm going to take this one. I'm gonna go. Not Eminence, who was in the kill field. Not Jam, who we highlighted at the start. Not MVP, who showed up some great numbers in honor. I'm going for Yuki. And the reason I'm going to go for Yuki is because they were the most consistent player for it today, and consistency was something that was found across the board. Right, not everyone on both teams was very, very consistent today. Yuki was the only one really for me. Had a really good consistent performance on Tracer when they needed to switch heroes. They did. I was quite impressed with Yuki. A nice consistent Tracer play style. And give them advantage in more team fights.
Yeah, I've got to say, if it wasn't going to be Yuki, I would want it to be Django, because Django did absolutely amazing onto the Wrecking Ball and Brawl. They were honestly one of the best main teams I've seen so far, at least in GGEU as of the moment. But I definitely would have to agree, Yuki deserves that MVP title. Just such a good Tracer. But we've reached the end, and Ocean, I got to be honest with you, do you have any lasting comments? Any lasting words?
Not really. It's been interesting, casting two teams from the same org in both matches so far. Of course, you see Snowdon winning earlier. I was really impressed with a couple of their players, of course, Mister and Furby. Yuki impressed me in Horizon. Jam was good. But I feel like in these sort of situations, if you're entering these grassroots tournaments, organizations here need to now make a decision, right? And this is what's going to be interesting for the rest of the season, kind of setting up some narrative for these teams. What do Altiora do here? Do they put more resources in Eminence because they want to get value out of all their teams in this grassroots tournament, or do they put everything in the Snowdon to try and win because the win gives them more? Alterra, same thing. Do they put everything into Alterra Horizon because that's their winning team? If they're going to win this tournament, it's going to be them. Or do they put more into Orion so they have more consistent ideas and more consistent teams to win games? I don't know. It's their call. It's up to these organizations, and that's a headache for the org owners, the managers, to come up with that sort of idea. And maybe they want to leave it as is, but I wouldn't. I would take some advice off of these two games because we've seen some awesome Overwatch tonight.
Yep, it's a lot to work on and a lot to prepare. And while this is the end of GGEU, I would like to ask everyone to still stay tuned, because we are having GGNA in a short while, depending how long a short while you want to ask for is. Either way, if you want to stay up to date and get notifications to when this is happening, you can follow us on the Twitter, or you can follow one of us. Our Twitters are down below, as you can see. We make sure to tweet things out, retweet. We love to give love, and, sometimes we may cast them, so it's a lot of interesting. You can join the Discord, stay up to date, maybe even join and compete. Either way, we want to thank you so much for tuning in for today's week of GGEU, and we can't wait to see you in GGNA.